Chapter 459. Qian Renxue could not imagine that the three of them were the same person. It was too absurd. When the three figures overlapped, they left a deep mark in her heart, especially the great star Do forest. She could not forget it. But if she could not become friends with such a terrifying person in the future, they would definitely be enemies. With such an enemy, Qian Renxue looked into the distance with a complicated expression. Wang Feng's figure had already disappeared. At this moment, Qian Lu suddenly said, "Do you know why I didn't kill him as soon as I appeared? Because he won't be able to live. Your mother's move is not that simple." Hearing this, Qian Renxue was stunned and held his breath. "Grandpa, what do you mean?" Qian Renshue's face turned pale. Qian Lu shook his head and said, "Your mother's scepter contains the poison in her martial soul. In addition to shattering his heart meridians, it also spread the poison through the scepter into his body. He should have some special treasure on him that allowed him to live for so long and escape from the martial spirit palace. But no matter how powerful the treasure is, it can't keep him alive, unless it's a divine item, but that's impossible. In other words, he will die sooner or later. Your mother pretended to let me chase after him because she wanted me to help her confirm his situation. As for me, I'm really interested in this kid. That's why I came out." Hearing this, Qian Renxue was stunned. His heart twitched. If Wang Feng heard this, "Sorry, I really do have a divine item." The meteoric tear was truly a godly item compared to a godly item. When Wang Feng was leaving Martial Spirit City, the people of Shrek Academy had already left the Pontiff's palace. They walked down the quiet steps to the square of Martial Spirit City. Only then did they stop. Then, silence. Very silence. Everyone's expression was very unpleasant. No one would have thought that something like this would happen. Even the experienced Golden Iron Triangle was shocked and found it hard to accept this change. There were too many shocking points. Besides, Lu Erlong and Flender knew that Tang Hao was the vast Heaven Douluo and Tang San's father. The formidable strength that Wang Feng displayed was far from what they expected. "Tang San's father is so powerful," Ma Hongjun said in a low voice. "Sister Xiao Wu is a soul beast and captain." It could be said that every piece of information just now was something that ordinary people would never know in their entire lives. However, they could see and hear everything clearly. Dai Mubai and Oscar nodded. Only Ning Rongrong was in a daze as she stared at the distant Pope's palace. Lu Erlong couldn't bear to look at Ning Rongrong at this moment. In a trance, she seemed to see herself in the past. When the master left her, her eyes were strangely similar to Ning Rongrong's. "Rongrong," Lu Erlong opened her mouth but did not know what to say. "Teacher, why are you stopping me?" Ning Rongrong suddenly burst into tears. "I want to be with Wang Feng. How can we just leave him like this?" "You can leave, but I don't want to. I don't want him to die in there alone. If you let me out just now and I stood in front of Wang Feng, that Pope wouldn't have done anything. But if she did, Uncle Jian and Dad would have done something. Why are you stopping me?" Faced with Ning Rongrong's question, Lu Erlong couldn't refute it. Because everyone saw what happened just now. Wang Feng was covered in blood, and he was seriously injured. That Pope would definitely not spare Wang Feng if she came down. "Rongrong, don't mess around," Master said in a low voice. "If you went out, you would only cause your father to be involved in the battle. Do you want the 7 treasure glazed tile sect to become enemies with the Martial Spirit Palace? Lin Feng should have a way to leave. If we leave, nothing will happen to him. If you go out directly, you will only drag him down. How can he leave? Teacher, can you tell me?" Ning Rongrong opened her mouth. Master opened his mouth. He wanted to say something, but after thinking for a long time, he realized that Lin Feng really didn't have a way out. He saw with his own eyes that Lin Feng was seriously injured while fighting against 2 titled Doulu. Then, the Pope came down. How could Lin Feng have a chance to leave? However, Master was just used to thinking that Wang Feng wouldn't die so easily. Now that he thought about it, there was no chance at all. When the Bibidon came down, Zhu Zhuqing rushed out. They had already left the plaza. They didn't know what happened behind them. Flender and Lu Erlong couldn't answer either. There's no way. Ning Rongrong wiped the tears on her face and sobbed, There's no way. Master Erlong, if you were in Grandmaster's shoes, would you be able to leave when the person you love is about to die? This was a spiritual question. Lu Erlong was stunned. If Master was in that situation, she would have rushed out. Even if she died, she would die together with him. Evidently, Ning Rongrong thought the same. Not only that, but Zhu Zhuqing also thought the same way. Master sighed softly. Humans were emotional creatures. Their feelings for Wang Feng were completely different from these two girls' feelings for Wang Feng. Rongrong, let's think on the bright side. Captain should be fine. Ma Hongjun said softly. Zhuqing rushed out. The Pope can't kill the innocent, right? She has no reason to kill Zhuqing. As long as Zhuqing stands in front of Wang Feng, she should. Ma Hongjuan's voice became softer and softer. Perhaps he felt that he couldn't make up any more stories. Actually, Fatty is right. Perhaps Captain and Zhuqing came down safely together? There's always a chance for things to turn around. Oscar added, Can you imagine how many miracles monster Captain Wang Feng has created so far? Just look at how he fought his way through the entire tournament with his 9 incarnations. Look at the unimaginable tactics he used, and the immense strength he unleashed at the end. He's only a rank 40 soul master, yet he dares to challenge a titled Doulu. Is that something an ordinary soul master can do? The situation just now was indeed very dangerous for the captain. Normal soul masters don't have any chance of survival. But he's monster captain. There must be a way for him to survive. Oscar's words were a little sophistry, but they did make some sense. Ning Rongrong wiped her tears and looked up the stairs. Don't worry. Little crazy kid is the most amazing kid I've ever seen. At this moment, Dugubo coughed softly and said, He can create miracles. As a titled Douluo, Dugubo felt that his worldview was being challenged by Wang Feng today. A rank 46 soul master can actually fight against 2 titled Douluo? Doesn't that mean I can relax too? But Dugubo firmly believed that Wang Feng won't die so easily. Chapter 460. I think so too. Dai Mubai said. Wang Feng is also the most amazing young man I've ever met. He won't die so easily. We just have to wait. Dai Mubai's eyes widened when he said that. Because he saw 3 silhouettes quickly walking down the stairs of the Pope's palace. The rest of the people also stared blankly, but their hearts could not help but sink. These 3 people were Ning Fengji, the sword Douluo, and Zhu Zhuqing. Wang Feng was not there. Soon, the 3 of them arrived in front of Shrek and the rest. Ning Fengji placed Zhu Zhuqing beside Lu Erlong. The light in Ning Rongrong's eyes disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. This child, Lu Erlong, looked at Zhu Zhuqing. Her heart sank. Ning Fengji shook his head. He looked at the sword Douluo and told them what happened. After hearing what happened, they were all stunned. Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong looked at Zhu Zhuqing. More tears welled up in her eyes. I was the one who did it first. Why wasn't it me? You mean Zhuqing is dead? Lu Erlong frowned. She suddenly placed her hand on Zhu Zhuqing's bloody chest and said in shock, That's not right. Zhuqing still has a heartbeat. Her injuries seem to have healed. The sword Douluo and Ning Fengji were stunned. The sword Douluo turned into a gust of wind and came in front of Zhu Zhuqing. He placed his hand on Zhu Zhuqing's wrist and felt it with his soul power. She's not dead. How is this possible? The sword Douluo was in disbelief. He came down in a hurry. Furthermore, he was certain that this child was dead. Hence, he did not check. Only now did he realize that although this girl was not breathing, her heart was still beating. Her injuries were recovering quickly. She would wake up soon. How was this possible? I remember that Lin Feng used a golden lotus to help her recover. Ning Fengji frowned. Could it be because of that? However, that was a blow from the Pope's Bibidon, which almost instantly shattered the girl's heart meridians. No matter how strong the healing ability was, it couldn't possibly heal him, right? That might be the case. Grandmaster said in a deep voice, Little Feng's Azure Lotus Martial Spirit's strongest is the first Golden Lotus. It has an extremely strong healing ability. As long as there is still a breath left, it can save him. Lin Feng might have used the Golden Lotus to heal Zhu Qing. She just needs some time to recover. Everyone could understand this explanation. Only the sword Douluo was appraising Zhu Qing's heart with furrowed brows, and he could sense that something was amiss. There seemed to be a very special energy gushing out from there, repairing the girl's body. However, she didn't reveal any of that when she was sent flying by the Bibidon, and the sword Douluo had clearly seen that she was on the brink of death. Otherwise, he wouldn't have intervened. At that time, he didn't see anything strange about her heart. Could it be that kid? The sword Douluo gasped. What method did he use? How did he make this girl's heart so powerful? Soon, Zhu Qing groaned and slowly regained consciousness. The meteoric tear was unimaginably powerful. In terms of injuries, Wang Feng was more injured than her, because the Bibidon had held back some of its power during the second blow. However, Wang Feng was able to quickly recover from that kind of injury after escaping. However, Zhu Qing was very confused. Although the meteoric tear had temporarily fused with her heart and repaired her body, she didn't need it at all. I'm not dead? Although she was very weak, Zhu Qing was still conscious. She had thought that she was dead. She had died in Wang Feng's arms. Everyone was speechless. In the next moment, Zhu Qing asked a question that everyone was very concerned about. Where is Wang Feng? Ning Rongrong trembled and looked at Ning Fengji and the sword Dalu. Don't worry, he's not dead. Ning Fengji suddenly smiled and said, After he handed you over to us, he used a special method to leave. He's fine. We saw it with our own eyes. Oh right, when he handed you over to us, he also told us not to be sad. He went to a mysterious place to cultivate. Did the two of you make a promise? You will meet again in 5 years at most. Before the final battle, the Shrek's 7 monsters and Wang Feng had made a promise that they would meet again in the Shrek Academy in 5 years. However, meet my ass. Ning Fengji and the sword Douluo didn't see what happened to Wang Feng, saying this was a lie, and also to stabilize Rongrong and the rest of the people. Ning Fengji knew his daughter too well. He also knew how much she loved Wang Feng. Previously, when he saw Ning Rongrong about to rush out, he was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. Everyone was stunned when they heard this. At this moment, the sword Douluo nodded and said, Yes, Fengji is telling the truth. He was a titled Douluo, and everyone knew that he couldn't possibly lie. Really? Daddy? You didn't lie to me? Ning Rongrong said in a daze. Daddy didn't lie to you. Ning Fengji said with a smile. That kid also said that you have to cultivate as soon as possible. The next time we meet, he will beat you up again. Everyone. It seemed like Wang Feng would say something like that. For a moment, the expressions of the 5 people could not help but relax. Especially you, Rongrong. Ning Fengji walked over and whispered, That kid said that you have to cultivate well. When the time comes, he will definitely come to find you first. When he comes to the 7 Treasures Glazed sect to look for you, you have to be good. Otherwise, when he comes and sees that you're an ugly girl with a low level of soul power, he might just turn around and leave. Ning Rongrong blushed when she heard this. She whispered, Did he really say that? He will come to find me first. Ning Fengji nodded heavily, but he felt a little sour in his heart. Daughter, 5 years should be enough to dilute your feelings for this kid. When you find out that Daddy is lying to you, I hope you can understand. Suddenly, Ning Rongrong's eyes were full of brilliance and her face was glowing. Moreover, if he could cure Zhu Qing, how could he not be able to protect himself? Ning Fengji laughed a few times. So, you should think about your future plans now. When the time comes, Tang San will definitely meet you. Everyone nodded. They believed Ning Fengji's words without a doubt. They discussed that Dai Mubai would return to the Star Luo Empire. Oscar and Ma Hongjun planned to travel the continent together and cultivate. Ning Rongrong would return to the Luli sect. After all, the Shrek Academy had offended the Martial Spirit Hall. It was not suitable for her to stay in the academy. 5 years. Zhu Zhuqing was supported by Lu Erlong. She touched the energy that was gushing out of her heart. Wang Feng, did you do this? I will always wait for you. 5 years later, if you don't appear, I will wait for 10 years, 20 years. Chapter 461. Next to a bonfire in a quiet forest. Tang San abruptly awoke from his stupor and looked around. He did not know where he was. His father was standing next to him in a black cloak, and Xiao Wu was nowhere to be seen. The last thing he saw was Zhu Qing rushing toward Brofeng. Then, his father came down and took him and Xiao Wu away. Dad! Tang San looked at Tang Hao next to the bonfire. He had 1,000 things to say, but he did not know where to start. Where's Xiao Wu? How's Brofeng? Is there anyone else? I asked that girl to leave, Tang Hao said calmly. You're not suitable to be together now. Wait until you're stronger. Otherwise, you'll only harm each other. Tang San's heart skipped a beat. Does father mean that we're not suitable to be together now, but we'll be together in the future? Does father agree to let me be with Xiao Wu? Tang San felt tears welling up in his eyes when he thought of that. When his purple demon eyes evolved, he had already noticed that there was something wrong with Xiao Wu. Even so, he would not leave Xiao Wu because of that. If he had a choice, he would only choose to be with Xiao Wu. He would not leave her because of her identity. However, his father's words did not mean that he had no objections. You should hate me for not being by your side for the past 8 years. Tang Hao threw the tree branch into the bonfire, causing a burst of sparks. Tang San shook his head. I don't hate you, father. I know that you've always been by my side to protect me. I just have a lot of questions. Tang Hao waved his hand and interrupted him. Keep your questions to yourself. The only thing you need to do now is to become stronger. Do you understand? In the days to come, I will personally train you until you are strong enough that I think it is feasible. Otherwise, your training will continue forever. Can you bear it? If you can't, then you can choose to live peacefully in a village like me. Before Tang Hao could finish his sentence, Tang San said in a firm tone, No, I can endure any training. Tang Hao was silent for a moment. He coughed a few times and slowly nodded. Very good. The two of them were silent for a while. Suddenly, Tang San asked, Father, how's Brofeng? Tang Hao was stunned when he heard that. He said in a low voice, Little Feng's talent and natural endowment are much better than mine. The Martial Spirit Palace won't let him go. However, Lin Feng has too many secrets. Since he was so confident to come to the Pope's Hall, he must have thought of a way to escape. Tang San nodded gently. Yes, Big Brother Feng has too many secrets. Even though he grew up with Wang Feng, Tang San thought he knew Wang Feng well enough. However, as Tang San watched Brother Feng battle two titled Douluo on his own in the Supreme Pontiff's palace, he discovered that the familiar Brother Feng was so unfamiliar to him. Too strong. He was so strong that Tang San's scalp went numb. Was that the kind of power a 14-year-old boy should have? Alright, don't think too much about it. You'll have the chance to meet again. From now on, I will answer your questions and train you every day. Hearing his father's words, Tang San gradually calmed down. After Wang Feng escaped from the hands of the 1,000 Dao Flow, he ran all the way. In the morning of the second day, Wang Feng's injuries were more or less healed. After a night of meditation, his soul power was abundant. He also discovered that after this battle, his soul power was about to break through. This was good news. However, Wang Feng was not very happy. The strength of the martial soul hall gave Wang Feng a clear and deep understanding of the top forces in this world. Hence, Wang Feng had to do everything he could to increase his strength. Although the next checkpoint was in the city of Massacre, it was obvious that with the system's nature, he would need to go to the deepest part of the city of Massacre to be useful. He would not go to the city of Massacre so recklessly. Furthermore, his soul power was not enough, and he did not have enough soul rings. Most importantly, Wang Feng did not know the location of the city of Massacre. Wang Feng knew very little about this mysterious place, and he had never heard of it from anyone. Let's go to the extreme north first. As Wang Feng cultivated, he headed north. The extreme north, to be precise, did not have such a place in this world. It was only the Soul Beast Forest in the north. He only went there because Shui Bing said that she met Yiya in the outskirts of the forest. Wang Feng did not sense the little azure bird's aura on the people from the martial soul hall. This meant that the little azure bird was likely still in the Ice Soul Beast Forest in the north. He could go there and cultivate while looking for Qing Qing. It's a pity that I didn't bring Hulaina with me. Otherwise, I could ask her about Xing Xing. Wang Feng sighed. However, he would go back to the martial soul hall. Rank 50. I have to reach rank 50 in the extreme north to obtain my 5th soul ring and manifest the 5th form of the Azure Lotus. Wang Feng pondered. Only then will I be able to go to the city of Massacre. It would be best if I use the karmic fire of the Red Lotus to temper my brain and sternum. Even so, it was not very likely that he would go to the martial soul hall for revenge. After all, he was only one person. He could only say that he had to get stronger step by step. The extreme north was a good location. He just had to keep going north. This was because the Ice Soul Beast Forest in the north was very vast. It had not become a forbidden area for humans yet, but it was still a famous Ice Soul Beast Forest. Along the way, Wang Feng was also thinking about his own strength. In the battle at the Pontiff's Palace, Wang Feng had shown the strongest fighting strength apart from the Pangu axe. However, it was still very difficult for him to kill a titled Douluo. Because the Azure Lotus could only be in one form, Wang Feng could not summon all 4 forms at the same time. As a result, he could not unleash the power of the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Once he switched to the Red Lotus, the effect of his soul-devouring blood wings would disappear and his strength would decrease. At that time, he could be severely injured by the 2 titled Dalu. I still need to learn more fighting techniques. Wang Feng was deep in thought as he recalled the details of the battle with the 2 titled Dalu. The Emptiness Realm had the ability to crush soul masters of the same level or more than 20 ranks above Wang Feng. It was Wang Feng's proudest combat technique, and he had developed it as he went. A special soul skill like Reversal of Heaven and Earth was much less useful. When he used the God-slaying spear, the soul-devouring blood wings were only a special enhancement to his fighting state. It was not an offensive soul skill. It all depended on him. I need to come up with a set of spear technique. I can't just rely on the God-slaying spear to attack. Otherwise, it would be a waste of the soul-devouring blood wings. Otherwise, the 2 titled Douluo would have been defeated even faster. Wang Fengxin already had a direction and thought about how to become stronger. This kind of technique was similar to the chaotic splitting wind hammer technique. He needed to come up with a special spear technique. Soon, the temperature in the air dropped. Wang Feng knew that he was about to reach the extreme north. Standing on a tree that was more than 10 meters tall, Wang Feng looked at the vast expanse of whiteness in the distance and became determined. In the next few years, I will be immersed in this Ice Soul Beast Forest, until I become stronger. Chapter 462. The Outskirts of the Extreme North. Wang Feng felt the temperature drop as he made his way north. He knew he was in the outskirts of the extreme north. Wang Feng didn't know where exactly he was. The temperature here was very low, but it was an excellent cultivation environment for a soul master with an ice-type martial soul. However, the strange thing was that it was very difficult to survive in a place like this. There were no signs of life in the area. Along the way, Wang Feng had only seen a few small markets in the outskirts of the forest. They were selling items that could be used to enter the forest, such as warm clothes and other tools. But such settlements were rare because soul masters rarely came to such a harsh place. In such an environment, the burden on one's body and soul power was too great. It was much more troublesome than the Great Star Do Forest. The average temperature in the outskirts of the forest is about 50 degrees below zero. Wang Feng walked into the snowy forest, looking around as he pondered. The ice-type soul beasts in the outskirts weren't strong. Many of the gentler ones would look at Wang Feng from afar. The bolder ones would even roar at him. Wang Feng's body had been tempered by the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. His body was spotless and close to nature. Although he was human, he exuded a special aura. He had a natural affinity with living things. If the brain and sternum were completely refined, they would become one and become a true pure body. Wang Feng was also very curious as to what kind of changes would occur at that time. This was one of Wang Feng's goals in coming to the extreme north. The soul beasts in the outskirts aren't strong. They're rare. Wang Feng stepped on the slightly soft snow. The thickness of the snow wasn't high. Every step he took left a footprint of about 5 centimeters. This was the outskirts of the forest. If he went deeper, the temperature would drop even further. Wang Feng didn't have any warm clothes on. If it were winter in his previous life, Wang Feng's thin clothes would be terrible. In fact, this environment was suitable for any soul master to cultivate in, but it was difficult to endure for long periods of time. In order to resist the cold, he had to circulate his soul force and maintain his body at a normal temperature, which was beneficial for fighting. If he stayed in this place for too long, his soul force would be absorbed faster. Wang Feng was immune to both ice and fire, but only to energy attacks. He wasn't immune to the cold. Wang Feng's body was strong enough that the cold didn't affect him much. Wang Feng didn't move forward after going about 1,000 meters in the periphery. He decided to set up camp here. Wang Feng first used the mysterious underworld spike to split into several sharp blades and cut down the surrounding trees, cutting them into countless wooden planks. Wang Feng wanted to build a small wooden hut for his daily cultivation. He wasn't a barbarian. After all, he was not a savage. Since he planned to cultivate in the land of extreme ice for a long time, he naturally needed to build a shelter first. The high efficiency of the mysterious dark spike made Wang Feng sigh. The mysterious dark spike was really useful. Now that he had enough soul force, it was much easier to use. A few sharp black blades slashed at the snowy trees in the air. These snow trees were covered in snowflakes, and the accumulated snowflakes also formed the leaves of these trees, adding a different kind of charm to this vast white world wrapped in silver. With a flash of light, a large tree of ice and snow instantly fell to the ground. Wang Feng held 2 sabers in his hands, controlling his power as he carefully cut down the tree. He cut the tree into planks of equal length. Halfway through, Wang Feng suddenly froze. I can only use the mysterious underworld spike through physical contact. If I can use my spiritual power to control it, I should be able to achieve the effect of object manipulation. Wang Feng suddenly thought of this. Wang Feng had always used his soul force to control the mysterious underworld spike. He could change its trajectory to a certain extent. For example, he could change the direction of an arrow. But in reality, he needed to borrow force to fire the arrow. The longer the distance, the weaker the control. Wang Feng couldn't directly control the mysterious underworld spike. If he could, he would be at the level of object manipulation. I have a spiritual skull that's more than 100,000 years old. Why don't I try it? I can use my spiritual power to control the mysterious underworld spike. I don't need to do it myself. Wang Fengxin's heart heated up. Flying on a sword? Previously, when Wang Feng had used the mysterious dark spike, he had only wanted to use it to change its form in the middle of the battle to catch the young master off guard. But if he could use his spiritual power to control it, thinking of this, Wang Feng put down the black blade in his hand and stared at it. His soul force could only change the shape of the mysterious underworld spike. If he didn't have the skull, Wang Feng didn't want to try using his spiritual power to control the mysterious underworld spike. The skull given by the system was stronger than Wang Feng imagined. It was able to resist Bibidan's pressure in the pontiff's palace. It wasn't simple. Spiritual power was a very mysterious power. Wang Feng knew that in cultivation, it was similar to divine sense. In the Douluo world, Wang Feng hadn't heard of any methods to cultivate spiritual power. From the perspective of meditation cultivation, spiritual power should increase as one cultivated. Therefore, high-ranked soul masters often had very high spiritual power. Wang Feng didn't know how to cultivate spiritual power. How to use it was even more complicated. He just stared at the sharp blade formed by the mysterious underworld spike and crazily meditated on it. It was the same when he made the arrow turn. He concentrated his spiritual power and controlled his soul force to make the arrow turn. But now Wang Feng needed the sharp blade to move on its own. As for the relationship between soul force and spiritual power, Wang Feng felt that it was probably the relationship between the graphics card and the CPU. Without soul force, no matter how strong one's spiritual power was, it couldn't do anything. Without spiritual power, no matter how high one's soul force was, they couldn't do anything because they couldn't use their soul force. Of course, this was only Wang Feng's analogy. In reality, there was still a big difference. After staring at the sharp blade for a while, Wang Feng's skull glowed slightly. This was a sign that his spiritual power was operating. Wang Feng felt as if a storm was brewing in his brain. The sharp blade seemed to break down into countless particles, recombined, and finally became the original sharp blade. In the next moment, the sharp blade moved. Seeing this, Wang Feng's pupils shrank. One had to know that he didn't move at all. He was just using his spiritual power. Following that, the sharp blade slowly floated up from the air. At this time, Wang Feng felt a little dizzy. His skull emitted a clear aura, making Wang Feng feel much better. It really works. Wang Feng was quite excited. But because of this excitement, the sharp blade directly fell. This isn't using some tricks, nor is it using profound soul force. It's pure spiritual power. Wang Feng murmured. Wang Feng roughly knew that it was similar to Tang San's mysterious jade hands. When practiced to a high level, it could also achieve a simple object controlling effect. Similarly, soul masters with high soul force could also control objects by relying on their profound soul force. Wang Feng was able to control the arrow's turn in this way. However, Wang Feng had never seen someone who could control objects with just mental power. End of this chapter. Chapter 463. They were on two completely different levels. Controlling with soul power and controlling with spiritual power were two different concepts. Simply put, with spiritual power, Wang Feng could control the mysterious underworld spike at will. With any command, the mysterious underworld spike could attack from all angles without any delay. Controlling with soul power was much more troublesome, and the degree of control was limited. He could only make simple changes. I feel like there's something in my mind. Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that spiritual power has been concretized? Shaking his head, Wang Feng felt that it was impossible. Wang Feng didn't think too much about it. He focused on the sharp blade again and continued practicing. He didn't know if it was because of the black hoop spiritual skull or because he was extremely focused, but Wang Feng improved very quickly. One day later. A sharp blade floated quietly beside Wang Feng, spinning gently. This sharp blade was very short, about the size of a palm. This was the limit of Wang Feng's spiritual power. Go! Wang Feng snapped his fingers, and the sharp blade suddenly flew out and stabbed into a big tree. However, it only made the tree tremble, and a 2 to 3 centimeters deep cut was made. However, because it was only controlled with spiritual power, it wasn't strong enough. Wang Feng shook his head. This was the weakness of spiritual power control. Without a point to leverage, it was very weak. Although he could do simple object manipulation, the lethality was too weak. In other words, Wang Feng didn't have a specific spiritual power cultivation method or object manipulation method. If it was a cultivation method, it would probably be some kind of spell. He could only fumble around on his own, but Wang Feng didn't get tired of it. Other than being cool, there's nothing good about it. Wang Feng clicked his tongue. Seems like I still need a long time to practice. Sooner or later, I will be able to fly on a sword and experience the feeling of being an immortal. Logically speaking, he was indeed cool. In the future, with a single thought, the mysterious underworld spike would instantly turn into a weapon. Swish, swish, swish. However, it would still take a long time before he could do it. Yesterday, Wang Feng had been practicing object manipulation with spiritual power the entire day. Today, Wang Feng would directly use the mysterious underworld spike to quickly build a triangular wooden house about 30 square meters. This was not a difficult task for Wang Feng. What was interesting was that this ice tree was quite special. It seemed to be in an ice and snow environment, but after peeling off the bark, Wang Feng found that this kind of tree could keep warm and release heat. The temperature of the wooden house built from it was much higher than outside. After the wooden house was built, Wang Feng spent another 3 days exploring the surrounding terrain. The extreme north was truly desolate and uninhabited, and the terrain was strange of every description. About 2 kilometers north of Wang Feng's wooden house, there was a small ice valley with several 10,000-year-soul beasts inside, but they weren't particularly strong. North and south, there was a long ice river that extended to an unknown location. Wang Feng could see quite a few soul beasts in the water, as well as some special fishes. After exploring an area with a radius of nearly 5 kilometers, there was basically only snow and trees. As for the other resources, Wang Feng didn't see much unless they were buried under the snow. If they went further in, they would reach the inner area of the land of extreme north, which was relatively more dangerous. Wang Feng estimated that there should be quite a few 10,000-year soul beasts inside. The land of extreme north was too big. Although he hadn't explored it before, it shouldn't be much inferior to the Great Star Do Forest. Wang Feng's goal in the future was to become a 90,000-year soul beast. This was because this was the requirement for punching in. He didn't have many chances of killing a 100,000-year soul beast. Although it was only a difference of 10,000 years, this was the difference between a soul Douluo and a titled Dalu. Cultivating alone in this forest of ice and snow would make one feel extremely lonely. This was also a form of cultivation. If you didn't speak, no one would be able to sense any of your emotions: loneliness, coldness, and desolation. In such an environment, Wang Feng wasn't disturbed by external things, and was extremely focused on his cultivation. With the help of the skull, Wang Feng's cultivation speed greatly increased. In less than a month, Wang Feng broke through to rank 47. However, as he increased his rank, Wang Feng realized that his cultivation speed became even slower. However, Wang Feng was still not anxious. He didn't go deep into the land of extreme north, and only cultivated in the outer area. Wang Feng knew that in the inner area of the land of extreme north, danger and opportunity coexisted. There were definitely treasures inside, but there were also powerful soul beasts. He wasn't in a hurry. It was another normal day. On the wooden bed in the wooden hut, Wang Feng opened his eyes from his meditation. A streak of black light flashed across his eyes. With a thought, the black light flew out from Wang Feng's body and turned into a long pole. It picked up the clothes on the wooden hut's clothes rack and landed in front of Wang Feng. It automatically helped Wang Feng put it on. After that, it turned into a comb and combed Wang Feng's messy hair into an adult's appearance. As it combed, it also turned into a pair of scissors to trim Wang Feng's hair. After a month of simple training, Wang Feng could already use his spiritual power to control the mysterious underworld spike. It was extremely convenient. He could train and fix his appearance at the same time. Wang Feng didn't want to become a barbarian because of excessive cultivation. Life had to have a sense of ritual, and cultivation was the same. Wang Feng's body would become messy because of his daily combat training. However, with the help of the mysterious underworld spike, Wang Feng didn't even need to lift a finger. He could use his spiritual power to quickly fix himself and turn himself into an exquisite pig-like boy. He could continue training for another day. However, this was also because the mysterious underworld spike was a soul bone. It was fused with his body to a certain extent. This was why he could use his spiritual power to control objects. If it were anything else, Wang Feng wouldn't be able to control it so well. In just a few minutes, under the control of the dark nether spike, Wang Feng's entire body was in high spirits. It had to be said that the mysterious underworld spike was a necessity for lazy people. With it, Wang Feng didn't have to wear clothes anymore. Wang Feng stood up and pushed open the wooden door. A gust of cold wind blew in. He looked at the familiar world of ice and shouted, "Spear, come!" He focused his eyes and stretched out his hand. The black light condensed into a spear in the air. As if it had a mind of its own, it spun a few times in the air and flew towards Wang Feng's hand. However, it was slightly crooked. It brushed past Wang Feng's hand and hit his face. Wang Feng was speechless. Wang Feng rubbed his face and grabbed the spear formed by the mysterious underworld spike. Of course, the spear didn't have a mind of its own. He was using his spiritual power to control it so that he could act cool. However, the spear was too big. Wang Feng's spiritual power couldn't control such a big weapon with such precision. Wang Feng could only use his spiritual power to control small objects like scissors, combs, and short stick. In the past month, Wang Feng had mostly been sensing the surrounding terrain or using his spiritual power to control the mysterious underworld spike. He had also been fighting, but not much. From today onwards, Wang Feng planned to train with the spear. He wanted to see if he could figure out a special technique. However, Wang Feng didn't use the soul-slaying spear. It consumed too much soul power. He could use the spear formed by the mysterious underworld spike. As for how to train, Wang Feng had thought about it for the past month and had some ideas. End of chapter. Chapter 464. The Ice Valley in the north and the Ice River on the left can be used as a place for me to practice my spear. Wang Feng walked towards his destination. Although it was only the outer ice valley and there was nothing special about it, there were many natural ice crystals in the ice valley. They were very hard and their shape was very irregular. And because of the terrain, some ice crystals would often fall from the sky, causing a lot of damage to soul masters. The ice river was very interesting. The ice surface was very smooth and had a special suction force. This suction force was not for people, but for soul power. After a soul master stood on it, the flow of soul power would accelerate. It felt like a naturally formed special terrain. As for the inner circle of the extreme north, Wang Feng did not plan to go there now. When he reached rank 50 and could figure out a set of special spear techniques, he would go to the inner circle of the extreme north to look for soul rings. Similarly, Wang Feng did not give up looking for the little cyan bird. With his perception, as long as there was a trace of the little cyan bird's aura, Wang Feng would be able to sense it clearly. The only thing that worried Wang Feng was the consciousness of Ye and Xing Xing in Shui Bing and Hu Laiina's skulls. Shui Bing was fine. Ye's consciousness had stabilized and Shui Bing would not act recklessly. It was hard to say about Hu Laiina, but Hu Laiina's martial soul was mutated and her consciousness was in her skulls. If there was an accident, Hu Laiina would also be seriously injured. Even if Bibidon knew that Hu Laiina's skull had Xing Xing's consciousness, she would not dare to act recklessly. After all, she was her direct disciple. As long as Wang Feng found the little cyan bird, he should know the specific situation of the three little guys. While thinking, Wang Feng soon arrived at the ice valley. This ice valley was not big and there were no rare treasures inside. This place was only the outer area. Even if there were rare treasures, they would have been taken away long ago. There were only many ice crystal pillars that looked like irregular mirrors. There were also ice crystal snowflakes falling from the sky. These ice crystals had a corrosive effect and would hurt soul masters when they fell on them. In order to prevent his clothes from being corroded, Wang Feng naturally had to avoid these ice crystal snowflakes. Those ice crystal pillars were like mirrors, but they were very hard. If Wang Feng did not use soul power, he could not break them with a punch, because it was too slippery, coupled with the fact that the crystal surface was extremely irregular. When the spear stabbed into it, the spear was directly crooked. The first time Wang Feng had come here, he hadn't used any soul power or soul skills. He had only used his spear to stab for a long time, but he hadn't been able to pierce through an ice crystal pillar. This had caused Wang Feng to become incomparably irritable. Therefore, Wang Feng used this as the first place to practice his spear. Actually, it was very simple to pierce through these ice crystal pillars. All one had to do was focus one's strength on a single point and use a short burst of power to attack. However, while it seemed easy, it was actually extremely difficult. Because these ice crystal pillars were very sturdy, their surfaces were very slippery and irregular. Often, no matter how much power was gathered at the tip of the spear, it would only leave a scratch on the surface of the ice crystal, and the power would be directly dissipated. Therefore, Wang Feng realized that he couldn't pierce through it with his spear without using his soul power or soul skills. After practicing for a while, the ice in the ice valley scattered. Many small scratches appeared on the ice crystal pillar in front of Wang Feng, but there was not a single hole. Wang Feng was starting to doubt his life. The greatest characteristic of a spear was its thrust. If he didn't use his soul power or soul skills, he couldn't even unleash this characteristic. Wang Feng didn't want to practice any fancy technique. He just wanted to unleash the greatest characteristic of a spear. This was also why Wang Feng couldn't hit the two titled Douluo's vitals, even though he was able to injure them every time he used the soul-slaying spear, even though he was in his empty state. After an entire morning, Wang Feng didn't gain anything. There were only more scratches on the ice crystal pillar in front of him. Titled Douluo are just like these slippery ice crystal pillars. It's too difficult to pierce through them with a single attack. Wang Feng furrowed his brow. Wait, let me try to lock my spiritual power onto one point of this ice crystal pillar. Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. He focused on the ice crystal pillar in front of him. The irregular surface of the crystal pillar was like a multifaceted mirror. Wang Feng could see many of his reflections in it. After locking his spiritual power onto one point, Wang Feng's spear suddenly stabbed out. He aimed at that point. Dong! The tip of the spear instantly pierced through that point and pierced through the ice crystal pillar. Seeing this, Wang Feng was delighted. It seems possible. I used my spiritual power to lock onto the spear. The force of the attack didn't dissipate. With Wang Feng's current physique, he had exquisite control over every muscle in his body. He could quickly grasp anything in his hand. Hence, Wang Feng knew all these basic techniques. Wang Feng could quickly grasp these basic techniques, but he couldn't study them in depth. Hence, it was very difficult for him to do it in special situations. Until now, Wang Feng was able to pierce through the ice crystal pillar with a single spear by combining his spiritual power with his technique. Using spiritual power to lock onto something was a little like cheating. But that feeling, Wang Feng remembered it. This time, Wang Feng didn't use his spiritual power to lock onto something. He remained calm and collected. The tip of the spear shone like a star. Dong! Another hole appeared in the ice crystal pillar. It seems like I've grasped the basic techniques of using a spear. Once this feeling came, it couldn't be blocked. Wang Feng felt that the spear in his hand was filled with spirituality. His mind felt like it was being washed by a raging ocean. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The spear in Wang Feng's hand was like an arm. It was very comfortable. Every time he struck, another hole would appear in the ice crystal pillar around him. Every strike was extremely accurate. His strength was only released at the last moment. Bang bang bang. Crisp sounds rang out continuously. In a state where he didn't use soul power or soul skills, he only had an ordinary physique. Every spear thrust became more and more accurate, and the power behind it became greater and greater. After the last strike pierced through the ice crystal pillar, Wang Feng shook gently. The force traveled along the spear and directly shattered the ice crystal pillar. Furthermore, Wang Feng had to constantly dodge the ice crystals and snowflakes falling from the sky. His body was extremely tense. This was also a form of training. After shattering the ice crystal pillar, there was a terrifying gust of air. Ice crystals and snowflakes filled the sky. Wang Feng slowly retracted his spear. Could this be an epiphany? Wang Feng looked at the spear. Honestly speaking, he didn't feel much about weapons. Most of them were unleashed through soul skills. When he fought against the two titled Douluo, he only used his void realm. He used his terrifying speed and powerful physique to execute simple attacks with the god-slaying spear. In comparison, I feel that using the god-slaying spear earlier was a waste. Wang Feng couldn't help but think. End of chapter. Chapter 465. After Wang Feng jumped into the cave, he walked a long distance in the tunnel. While walking, Wang Feng thought to himself, putting on such a mysterious show was nothing more than to make the people who came feel dread towards this slaughter city. Otherwise there wouldn't be a need to arrange such a long dark passage. Because in this kind of passage, ordinary spirit masters would feel a little dread towards the dark and lonely environment. The longer they walked, the greater the dread. After walking for roughly 10 minutes, Wang Feng saw a large door. Pushing open the door, light slowly condensed. What entered his eyes were rows of black armored warriors. The one in the very center rode a black warhorse, his whole body wrapped in armor. Behind these black armored warriors was a pitch-black city. Above the city hung a purple moon. If nothing unexpected happened, this city was Slaughter City. That moon was very mystical, like it was man-made, only several hundred meters tall. Slaughter City. Wang Feng looked at the black city in the distance. Actually, apart from the color, this city wasn't much different from the human cities Wang Feng had seen before. Walking in from outside the door, Wang Feng felt as if he had entered a special domain. Especially under the illumination of that purple moon. His spirit abilities seemed to have been sealed. This also meant he had entered the domain of Slaughter City. Although Wang Feng had been tempered by the Red Lotus and remembered a lot of knowledge from his previous life, he still couldn't understand it. But Wang Feng hadn't seen the latter half of the original work, so he didn't understand much about Slaughter City, and was even somewhat unfamiliar with it. These black armored warriors in front of him should be to welcome outsiders who wanted to enter Slaughter City. These black armored warriors in front of him should be here to welcome outsiders who wanted to enter Slaughter City. The leader of the black armored warriors slowly spoke in a low and ice-cold voice. Defeat us, and you will have the qualifications to enter Slaughter City. You? Wang Feng frowned slightly. Who set this up? I just set it up. The black-armored knight's cold voice was like that of a robot, as if he knew everything that had happened in the tavern above. Wang Feng smiled. This slaughter city really was a land of indulgence. There really weren't any rules. Even these black-armored warriors representing law enforcers were the same. At this moment, the black-armored knight brought the 100 black-armored warriors, swiftly wrapping Wang Feng up. The armor on these black-armored warriors was made of some unknown material, looking exceptionally hard. Under the purple moonlight, it suffused with a dark luster, their entire bodies covered in armor. Like 800 Spartan warriors, they surrounded Wang Feng while howling. In this place, even though spirit abilities couldn't be used, spirit power could be used, and the spirit's original form could also be used. Reasonably speaking, the restrictions on Wang Feng weren't very large. Even though he couldn't use spirit abilities, and Wang Feng couldn't use strength above 3rd gear. But 2nd gear was already enough to move unhindered. Especially, his current physical strength had already reached an extremely terrifying level. Within a range of 30 meters. All spirit masters under 60th rank can't get close to me. Wang Feng didn't panic in the slightest. After Wang Feng reached rank 53 and obtained his 5th soul ring, he already had more than 50,000 mysterious dark spikes, and they were constantly growing and evolving. The weight of the mysterious dark armor had also reached more than 10,000 kilograms. Furthermore, when his body was being tempered by the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, the mysterious dark spikes had also been tempered, and their destructive power was simply terrifying. Because the mysterious dark armor was an external soul bone, it was usually attached to the upper half of Wang Feng's body. As an external soul bone, it didn't affect the torso bone that was fused with the body. According to Wang Feng's estimation, the mysterious dark spike's poison might have been tempered away, but the damage it could do was double. Not only could it cause damage to the enemy's body, but it could also cause damage to the enemy's spirit. However, the mysterious dark armor's abilities didn't change. It only became stronger. Seeing the black-armored warriors attacking in unison, Wang Feng shook his head. He only saw him lightly stomp his foot. In an instant, countless black rays condensed behind Wang Feng's back, instantly forming 5 sharp blades. 5 sharp blades was the limit of the number of objects that Wang Feng's spiritual power could control. Actually, just by using the mysterious dark spike to change forms, Wang Feng could form more than 10 kinds, but using spiritual power to control objects to attack was much more troublesome. He could only temporarily control 5 different sharp blades to attack. Defend, the black-armored knight said in a deep voice. More than 100 black-armored warriors seemed to obey the order. They formed groups of 2, back to back, raised their shields, and wrapped themselves like a dumpling. Can we defend? Wang Feng laughed. The current mysterious dark spike was not the mysterious dark spike that he had at level 40. Even if these black-armored warriors' armor was very hard, they couldn't block it. 5 pitch-black sharp blades pierced through countless shields in the air, like 5 shooting stars, shuttling through the formation of 100 people. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In less than 10 seconds, all the shields were cut and pierced through. Combine! Wang Feng, who was stunned on the spot, continued to order. The 5 sharp blades in the air were like mechanical pillars, forming a ring. The sharp blades pointed outwards, like a wheel of wind and fire, directly cutting through all the black-armored warriors' armor. Fresh red flesh was revealed. Blood bloomed like an explosion. It bloomed around Wang Feng. Rumble! At this moment, a figure directly rushed over from afar. It was that black-armored knight. His charging momentum was astonishing. The black-armored warhorse with the lower half of his body was like a sports car, charging towards Wang Feng. Clearly he wanted to directly attack Wang Feng. The opponent's strange attack method really was something he hadn't seen before. Clearly not using any spirit abilities, but still able to release this kind of powerful long-range attack. In so many years in Slaughter City, the black-armored knight still hadn't seen it. Perhaps it was a spirit bone. After all, spirit bones could be used in Slaughter City. But as long as he attacked himself, there shouldn't be any problems, right? Seeing the white-clothed faceless man right in front of him, the black-armored knight actually growled, increasing his speed somewhat. Just at this moment, Wang Feng suddenly leapt lightly, and then directly kicked out. Boom! The power of this kick directly shook the air with an explosive sound. The black-armored knight and his horse were sent flying as if they had been hit by a high-speed rail. His mind was a bit blank in this instant. Such tyrannical fleshly strength. With this kind of charging momentum, he could actually still be kicked flying along with his horse? He had sensed very clearly just now that the opponent hadn't even used spirit power. In other words, he had only used the purest physical quality. The black-armored knight looked at the shattered armor all over his body, as well as the already dead warhorse. Waves of cramping pain came from his body, as if telling him how terrifying the might of that kick just now was. At this moment, Wang Feng walked over and said, "Do I have the qualifications to enter Slaughter City?" The black-armored knight glanced at this white-clothed faceless man. Seeing that the opponent was still untainted by a speck of dust, white as snow, seemingly out of place in this world of darkness, his heart felt somewhat suffocated. He said in a hoarse voice, "Yes." Finished speaking, the black-armored knight tossed over a command medallion to Wang Feng. Each person who passes the trial will obtain a command medallion as proof. Bring this item, and someone will come to receive you at the city gate. Wang Feng took the command medallion and fixed his eyes on it, discovering several numbers floating on it. 9527. P.S. There are still 4 or 5 more nights. End of this chapter. Chapter 466. This number. It made Wang Feng somewhat rueful. After lamenting, Wang Feng didn't pay any attention to this black-armored knight, but rather turned and walked towards the distant Slaughter City. The city gate wasn't large, and the distance wasn't far either. Several black-armored warriors stood at the gate, as well as several men and women, apparently waiting specially for the newcomers. The one receiving Wang Feng wasn't a woman, but rather a man. He was roughly 30 years old, wearing a black robe, his face a bit scarred, but not considered ugly. "I'm Nameless. Welcome to Slaughter City." The man's voice was somewhat hoarse, somewhat overcast. "In the coming day, I will explain matters relating to Slaughter City to you. During this time, you are safe." After speaking, he seemed to feel that Wang Feng's clothes were a bit strange, and his eyes kept looking at Wang Feng. Wang Feng's mask didn't have a crack, and really was very much like a faceless person. Adding on the moon-white clothes really was too conspicuous, especially in this place. "Nameless." Wang Feng looked astonished at the man. "Do you know 10,000 swords return to sect?" Nameless was clearly distracted, frowning and shaking his head. "I don't know what you're talking about. If it's a spirit ability, I don't know what 10,000 swords return to sect. Slaughter City also doesn't allow any spirit abilities. The newcomers we receive all use Nameless as a byword." Wang Feng smiled soundlessly. "Then tell me about Slaughter City's matters in a nutshell." Wang Feng followed Nameless into the city. This city didn't look large, and the buildings inside, even the floorboards, all seemed extremely ordinary, not too different from ordinary cities. Only the people living inside were very special. Slaughter City is a domain left behind by a 100-ranked spirit master 1,000 years ago. Presumably you've also sensed that your spirit abilities are unable to be used here. Even if a title Douluo came, it would still be the same. Therefore, if you want to live here, you can only rely on your own ability. Nameless continued to explain. "The domain is a bit weak." Wang Feng shook his head. "Without spirit abilities, there's still spirit power, and spirit bones. It should also completely seal spirit power and spirit bones. Only then can it be considered a true Slaughter City, relying on one's own most primitive strength to carry out slaughter. Nameless. Nameless resisted the urge to reprimand this white-clothed faceless man, explaining in a low voice, "That's impossible, that's equivalent to sealing all a spirit master's abilities. Then isn't that just right? Pursuing the most primitive slaughter." Nameless couldn't help glancing at this white-clothed faceless man, vaguely feeling that what it said wasn't wrong. The rules of your slaughter city are that there are no rules, right? Wang Feng continued, "As long as you want to do it, you can do it as you please here, to the extent that you don't even need to pay any price. Just now I saw the people in the city, even relying on free food, but one of them directly died after eating it. Clearly this place is also full of danger." Wang Feng's perception was too powerful. After his whole body had been tempered as one, Wang Feng's perception of the energy of heaven and earth, of everything that happened in his surroundings, was extremely clear. Everything that happened in the surroundings couldn't escape Wang Feng's perception. There were lives disappearing here at every moment. Slaughter City accepted any spirit master. As long as they passed a trial they could enter Slaughter City. According to what Nameless said, this place had the protection of the mighty Slaughter King, and Wang Feng felt it should be the prison king. This Slaughter City was even more like an inescapable prison, imprisoning countless criminals and thugs. The people who entered were very safe, but also very dangerous. "It seems you have a certain understanding of Slaughter City." Nameless shook his head. "I know the general rules of Slaughter City, but one of the most important rules is that you can enter, but you can't leave. If you want to escape Slaughter City, then the law enforcement team that the Slaughter King bestowed with spirit abilities in the city will kill you." Wang Feng nodded slightly. Even if he couldn't use spirit abilities, right now facing Title Douluo, who could use spirit abilities, was still very troublesome. If it was just an ordinary Title Douluo then it would still be fine, but if it was that kind of 95th ranked Transcendent Douluo, it might be life-threatening. "But I think there's always a way out?" Wang Feng continued to ask. This was the key point. Wang Feng was certain that the place to punch in should be someplace in Slaughter City. After all, this was a city. "There is." Nameless glanced at Wang Feng. "As long as you can charge out of the Hell Road, you can leave Slaughter City. Moreover, each power that can charge out of the Hell Road will be crowned with the title of Death God." Hearing this, Wang Feng couldn't help smiling. "Death God? Using a god as a title, aren't you afraid of incurring the displeasure of a god?" "No, because there's no such god as Death God." Wang Feng. Thinking about it, it seemed that in the Douluo world there really wasn't a god like Death God. There was the Azura god, but there wasn't a Death God. "Where's the Hell Road?" Wang Feng continued to ask. He really didn't understand much about Slaughter City, and right now he naturally had to ask this novice village chief. "You want to go to the Hell Road?" Nameless looked at Wang Feng and shook his head. "Impossible, that's too difficult. The people who enter Slaughter City are, for the most part, extremely vicious criminals of the outside world. Because they can't go on living, they enter Slaughter City and become the degenerates here. But there are also comparatively special spirit masters who want to enter Slaughter City to gain experience. I think you should belong to that kind?" As a newcomer guide, Nameless experience seemed to be very ample. Wang Feng nodded. This wasn't something to hide. Of course, he didn't come to Slaughter City to gain experience. He had two goals. One was to clock in. The second reason was to secretly cultivate the Dark Angel martial soul. Using this place as nourishment, he would cultivate the true Dark Angel spirit. Because in comparison, the current Dark Sky spirit, besides spirit body enhancement strengthening his own abilities, it didn't have many abilities. Previously he had awakened and evolved a blood mark, which gave him a slightly similar aura to a domain. Generally, a true domain spirit ability required at least a Title Douluo level existence to have a chance of possessing it. But Wang Feng felt that it should be able to form a true domain, only the awakening and evolution still wasn't thorough enough. Wang Feng sometimes wondered whether those 7 blood marks represented a kind of ability. When the 7 blood marks were completely activated, 7 different kinds of domains superimposed, what kind of effect would there be at that time? Therefore, this was the main reason Wang Feng had come to Slaughter City. Adventurers like you don't take our Slaughter City seriously. Nameless shook his head, still wanting to charge out of the Hell Road. It's simply laughable to the extreme. Let's say it like this: if you want to enter the Hell Road, you must become the champion of the Hell Slaughter Arena. And to become the champion, you must win 100 matches in a row. And in every battle, in a 10-man system, only one person can survive. This means that you must kill at least close to 1,000 people. Pay attention, these close to 1,000 people are all spirit masters. End of this chapter. Chapter 467. With this spear, Wang Feng borrowed the power of the heavenly thunder hurricane and condensed all kinds of thoughts from the past to form a true spear aura. Under this spear, all kinds of comprehensions were memorized in his heart, and a wonderful feeling came back to his heart. It formed an extremely murderous spear skill. Even if it was just comprehended, the special spear aura that Wang Feng had comprehended was not simple. It also contained some unique concepts that had far exceeded the scope of ordinary martial art. This terrifying spear attack, Wang Feng seemed to have turned into a green-purple lightning, shaking the body of the Windwing Blizzard crocodile. Ka. Countless ice patterns directly cracked from the body of the Blizzard crocodile. Its defense was broken. Not only that, the power of this spear directly penetrated the body of the Blizzard crocodile. This caused the beast to cry out miserably. The mysterious underworld spike contained a violent corrosive poison that crazily corroded the body of the Blizzard crocodile. However, this Blizzard crocodile was worthy of being a 60,000-year soul beast. Even so, under this spear, it was not killed instantly. But Wang Feng was able to injure this kind of soul beast with a single spear with the strength of a first grade. This was already strong enough. Of course, it was definitely not comparable to the Pengu axe. Moreover, Wang Feng did not dare to use the Pengu axe with his strength of a first grade. If he used it with his current strength, this Blizzard crocodile would definitely be finished. The Blizzard crocodile was angry and unwilling. It did not understand how this human soul master, who had not injured it from the beginning to the end, could inexplicably injure it. Even that move made it feel like it was about to die. Wang Feng withdrew his spear and jumped back. His whole body seemed to have evaporated, emitting hot air. His skin became incomparably red with some green, and he was panting like an ox. The consumption was great. The more powerful the move, the greater the burden on the body. Just now, when Wang Feng received the heavenly thunder, he also suffered a lot of damage. It was the same for the condensed hurricane, which was gathered in the spear. The power was very strong, but because it was just comprehended, there were many disadvantages. But Wang Feng's eyes were really excited. Wang Feng clearly remembered that feeling just now. The power was perfectly consistent with the spear skill he wanted to create. This move condensed the unique power of heaven and earth, fused with his own thoughts, and formed a special spear concept. The god of wind and thunder was so terrifying. Furthermore, Wang Feng had used his soul power to execute this move. This move also consumed about 30% of his soul power, so the consumption wasn't too high. Looking at the Blizzard crocodile, Wang Feng smiled. "Brother, leave. I won't kill you. You're already useless." He had already comprehended the moves that he wanted. As for this Blizzard crocodile, it was useless to kill it. It was better to let it grow. When the time came, he could find it to practice his moves when he had nothing to do. Roar! Blood gushed out from the Blizzard crocodile's back as it looked angrily at Wang Feng. However, it wasn't stupid. This human soul master was a little too strong. Although he looked incomparably weak right now, it was still extremely vigilant. Glancing at Wang Feng, the violent snow crocodile raised its buttocks and quickly fled towards its own cave. Its cave was in an ice cave a few hundred meters away. Since it was heavily injured, it had to go back and recuperate. Looking at the departing figure of the violent snow crocodile, Wang Feng grinned. His face flushed red as he spat out a mouthful of blood. This dog is quite strong. Wind and Thunder Absolute Divine Spear. In the next year, I will do my best to study this move. Wang Feng coughed a few times. This move mainly borrowed the power of heaven and earth. Wind was everywhere, but the power of thunder and lightning was very little. However, Wang Feng's divinized skill had a lightning paralyzing effect, and it had a certain amount of thunder and lightning power. Moreover, Wang Feng could simplify this move a little. Remembering the location of the blizzard crocodile, Wang Feng returned to the wooden house. At this time, the sky was already dark. When he returned, his injuries had already recovered. This was all dependent on the meteoric tear and his physical fitness. Even if the meteoric tear gushed out energy, it could accelerate the recovery of injuries, plus the healing effect of the golden lotus. No matter what injury Wang Feng suffered, even if it was a broken arm or a broken leg, Wang Feng doubted that he would recover in a day at most. If an ordinary soul master used that move just now, their body would have exploded directly. Only Wang Feng was only slightly injured. After coming to the extreme north for 2 months, Wang Feng had already achieved one of his goals. This made Wang Feng quite excited. Although this move still had many extensions and shortcomings, it was still the first spear skill that he created. And unlike Reverse Universe, it was a technique that Wang Feng improved and comprehended based on the disorder Splitting Wind Hammer technique. This could be considered his first self-created spear skill in the truest sense. The feeling of comprehension was very wonderful. It was so wonderful that Wang Feng laughed out loud while meditating. In the following days, Wang Feng carried out various training improvements based on his self-created Wind Thunder Absolute God Spear, making it more perfect and not injuring himself again. A month later, under Wang Feng's improvements, Wang Feng divided the Wind Thunder Absolute God Spear into 2 moves. The first move, Spirit Severing. The second move, Heaven and Earth Wind Thunder. The first move required the possession of a divinized soul skill, using the power of thunder in the Golden Lotus, or the power of thunder and lightning after possession, gathering the power of wind and thunder, condensing one's own comprehension and thoughts, forming the concept of spear power to attack the enemy. It was extremely powerful, and once the opponent was locked on, the opponent would be attacked with lightning speed, unavoidable. There was no need to accumulate power, and the consumption was not high. According to Wang Feng's estimation, even a soul Douluo could only take 3 moves at most. If he used 5th gear and was at full strength, even a titled Douluo could not take 10 moves. When Wang Feng used this move against 2 titled Douluo that day, within 10 moves, a titled Douluo would definitely be seriously injured and die. The second move was more troublesome, and required the help of a real divine lightning hurricane. Divine lightning and hurricane were the true power of heaven and earth, the power of nature, and were difficult to encounter. If he used 5th gear at full strength, an ordinary titled Douluo would definitely be seriously injured. Of course, these were only Wang Feng's estimations, and he did not know the exact situation. However, this move consumed a lot of energy and required a specific timing. It was Wang Feng's ultimate move, second only to Panga's axe. In the next few months, Wang Feng had been practicing these 2 moves. Wang Feng could probably use the second style a few times a month depending on the weather. As for the first style, Wang Feng often used it. Moreover, he used the blizzard crocodile as a testing stone. This was also why Wang Feng could estimate its power. After all, a 60,000-year blizzard crocodile was equivalent to a soul sage over rank 70 in terms of cultivation. Its strength was about the same as a soul Douluo. A 90,000-year soul beast's cultivation was equivalent to a soul Douluo, and a 100,000-year soul beast's cultivation was equivalent to a titled Dalu. After fighting with the blizzard crocodile, Wang Feng roughly knew about this soul beast. As the saying goes, no discord, no concord. Anyway, he did not have any killing intent towards this fellow, and only wanted to use it to practice his move. In the beginning, the blizzard crocodile was very angry and unhappy, and did not want to accept Wang Feng's humiliating request at all. Isn't this clearly treating me as a tool? A 60,000-year blizzard crocodile, among the 10,000-year soul beasts, was in existence at the upper middle level. In the outer region, it was an overlord. Of course, if it went to the inner region of the extreme north, it would be nothing, but it could not take such humiliation. Chapter 468. In the beginning, the violent snow crocodile resisted with all its might, wanting to kill this soul master. But as it fought, it found that this human soul master seemed to be stronger than it. It couldn't resist. The most important thing was that the violent snow crocodile found that as it trained with this human soul master, its cultivation improved rapidly, so half a year later. Roar. Early in the morning, the violent snow crocodile ran to find Wang Feng excitedly. It stood outside the wooden house and roared excitedly, directly disturbing Wang Feng's cultivation. The door of the wooden house opened, and Wang Feng, who was still well rested, walked out and said lazily, "Little crocodile, why are you here so early in the morning? Looking for a beating?" Although the violent snow crocodile had a 60,000-year cultivation, its intelligence wasn't very high, similar to Wang Feng. However, its intelligence was quite high. Although its bloodline wasn't as good as the Titan giant ape, it was similar to the blood-winged dragon beetle. In the past 6 months, the violent snow crocodile had learned to speak human language under Wang Feng's training, while enduring beatings. It had to be said that these 60,000-year soul beasts had high intelligence, especially the violent snow crocodile, which was relatively special. In less than 2 months it had learned to speak human language, but of course it could only speak human language. In the past 6 months, Wang Feng was full of energy and forcibly improved by 1 level. Reaching rank 48, he was only 2 levels away from rank 50. Wang Feng was confident that he could improve by 2 levels within a year. In fact, Wang Feng was also glad that he didn't kill this violent snow crocodile. Otherwise, cultivating alone in this environment would really suffocate him to death. There wasn't even a person to talk to, and there was nowhere to vent the mental pressure, which could easily cause a blockage in cultivation. No. The violent snow crocodile stuttered a little, but it opened its mouth and roared vigorously. "Then what do you want? I don't plan to fight with you today, you go play by yourself." Wang Feng let out a sigh. Everything paid attention to the balance between work and rest. Today was the first day of the month that Wang Feng set for himself to relax his body and mind. He didn't cultivate, nor did he meditate. He would quietly stay for a day and do some other things to relax his tense mind a little. "Hey, let me show you something." The violent snow crocodile laughed. It spread its wings and shot out a green light, landing in front of Wang Feng. Wang Feng caught it and took a closer look. He was indeed stunned. "This is..." Wang Feng was stunned. "Using the words you taught me, this is the feather of my goddess. She is the most beautiful soul beast in the outer forest of the extreme north." The violent snow crocodile smiled foolishly. "I was lucky enough to see her feathers yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see the goddess. Actually, I don't have any thoughts. I just want to see her appearance. I've only seen her a few times in the past few years." Its laughter was somewhat sinister, and the sound it emitted was terrifying, but Wang Feng was incomparably silent. It was a light green feather, and the patterns on it were unusually smooth and glossy. It was obvious that it wasn't a feather from an ordinary soul beast. "Where did you pick it up?" Wang Feng's tone was slightly shaken. This, in the first layer of the inner circle. Violent Snow Crocodile said, after she went to the inner circle, I rarely saw her figure. Wang Feng took a deep breath and stared at the feather. Ripples appeared in his heart. This feather was little Qing's feather. There was no mistake. Although it had changed a lot, Wang Feng remembered its aura very clearly. Gently brushing the feather, Wang Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. Boss Feng, what are you doing? Are you also interested in soul beasts? At this time, the Violent Snow Crocodile seemed to notice Wang Feng's special atmosphere and couldn't help but ask curiously. Because it had been beaten by Wang Feng too many times, it recognized Wang Feng as its boss. Wang Feng glared at the Violent Snow Crocodile. If you don't want to be beaten today, tell me everything you know about this soul beast. In the past 6 months, Wang Feng had never stopped looking for little Qing. However, he didn't think of telling the Violent Snow Crocodile about it. He didn't expect this Violent Snow Crocodile to know little Qing. Listening to its words, it seemed that little Qing was quite famous in the extreme north. Wang Fengxian breathed a sigh of relief and was also a little excited. This proved that he was right. Little Qing was indeed in the extreme north. You want to know about our outer circle's goddess Qing, Wang? I won't tell you. The Violent Snow Crocodile glared at Wang Feng aggressively. You, a human, dare to have ideas about a soul beast. Wang Feng. Boom boom boom. Immediately afterward, there was a violent beating. It was as if the sky was falling and the earth was turning upside down. The entire space was shaking. Boss Feng, don't beat me, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. The Violent Snow Crocodile's ice armor was broken, and there were a few big bumps on its head. It said aggrievedly, I'll tell you. Wang Feng clapped his hands and listened to the Violent Snow Crocodile talk about little Qing. In fact, the Violent Snow Crocodile didn't know much. He had only seen little Qing a few times. The first time was more than 4 years ago. According to Wang Feng's calculation, it was almost the time when little Qing disappeared with these two guys. It's a very, very good-looking bird. It has a big head, long wings, and a beautiful body. Wang Feng quickly interrupted the Violent Snow Crocodile's description. It couldn't be helped. This guy had just learned how to speak human language and didn't know how to describe it at all. However, Wang Feng roughly understood that it should be little Qing. Wang Feng remembered the last time he saw little Qing. Little Qing had grown very big and was much taller than him. Its pair of eyes were incomparably lively. There is a special golden flower mark on its forehead, the Violent Snow Crocodile continued. Hearing this, Wang Feng roughly knew that it must be little Qing. That warlike guy. Because Wang Feng used the golden lotus to restore it many times, it should have mutated. There was a faint golden lotus mark on its forehead. Although it's very beautiful, it's also very powerful. When it first came to the extreme north, there was a beast that bullied her 2 companions. She directly destroyed that beast along with its clan. When the Violent Snow Crocodile said this, its eyes were shining, but its cultivation is actually not high. It is only less than 30,000 years. But it is really super powerful. 30,000 years of cultivation. It was similar to Wang Feng's estimation. Now that 4 years had passed, little Qing should be stronger. Later, in the outer circle, she became one of the few overlords. She brought her 2 companions and swept away most of the soul beasts in the outer circle. At that time, I felt that I might not be able to defeat the 3 of them. Plus, I admired her very much, so I thought that she was the boss. The Violent Snow Crocodile didn't seem to have the self-awareness of a 60,000-year soul beast. Its tone was like a bootlicker. Wang Feng shook his head and didn't say anything. Bootlickers are really everywhere. She became the recognized most beautiful and powerful soul beast in our outer circle. She is the goddess in the hearts of many soul beasts. There are also 2 companions beside her. One of them is also very good-looking. It is a very beautiful star-moon fox, and is also very powerful. The violent snow crocodile said with some reminiscence. Wang Feng listened in silence. It seems that those three little guys came to the extreme north and did something big. But it was also because of this that Wang Feng roughly knew what they might have encountered. There is also a handsome ice emperor lizard. But they seem to have mutated and are different from the same type of soul beast. When I was in the inner circle, I saw a 70,000-year ice emperor lizard, but it didn't give me a special feeling. It only has a cultivation of more than 10,000 years. Chapter 469. The three little guys had been healed by the Golden Lotus, and Wang Feng had used all the power of the Golden Lotus to heal them. Naturally, they weren't special. We call her Qing Huang in the outer circle. She's the dream of many 10,000-year soul beasts in the outer circle. She's also very similar to the legendary phoenix soul beast. However, the violent snow crocodile's tone suddenly became gloomy. However, about 10 months ago, Qing Huang's beauty and strength finally alarmed the powerful soul beasts in the inner circle. It's a soul beast close to 100,000 years. Even in the inner circle of soul beasts, he was a true powerhouse that could dominate a region. And it's not an ordinary soul beast. It's an ancient soul beast with a special bloodline, the mountain sea ice dragon whale. It has two powerful bloodlines, the mountain sea ice dragon whale and the mountain sea ice dragon whale. It dominated the sea, land, and air. It came to the outer circle and crazily pursued Qing Huang. It said that the outer circle's forest had been contracted by it. She can't run away. Hearing this, Wang Feng, but goddess Qing Huang didn't accept the pursuit of the inner circle's soul beast overlord. She didn't care about it. The mountain sea ice dragon whale was furious and massacred all the 10,000-year soul beasts in the outer circle who supported her. I escaped because I stayed in a more remote place. I wanted to go there at first, but when I arrived, I found that there was a river of blood. The violent snow crocodile's tone was a little strange. But I didn't see Qing Huang's blood. On the contrary, there was the blood of the mountain sea ice dragon whale. Hearing this, Wang Feng was slightly stunned. No matter how strong the three of them were, it was impossible for them to defeat the mountain sea ice dragon whale that the violent snow crocodile was talking about. It had two ancient bloodlines. It was reasonable to say that it wasn't inferior to the Great Ming and the two Ming bloodlines. Even if it didn't have 100,000 years of cultivation, it should be comparable to some ordinary soul beasts with 100,000 years of cultivation, right? It was definitely not something that the three of them could defeat. What happened? Wang Feng frowned and asked. He vaguely guessed something, but he wasn't sure. Could it be that she also had 100,000 years of cultivation? No. At that time, Qing Huang only had a cultivation of less than 40,000 years. She was far from being a match for this mountain sea ice dragon whale. Even with her two companions, it was still not enough. The star moon fox was only 20,000 years old, and that ice emperor lizard was not even 20,000 years old. The blizzard alligator shook his head. Besides, at that time, the mountain sea ice dragon whale had a few subordinates. They were not weak. As one of the overlords of the extreme north's inner circle, it was normal for him to have a few subordinates. Then what happened? Is the mountain sea ice dragon whale injured? Wang Feng asked. The violent snow crocodile laughed and said, "This is what attracted us to Qing Huang. Not only is she beautiful, but she is also very smart." At that time, she didn't face the mountain sea ice dragon whale directly. Instead, she went to lure a human expert. This human is very powerful. He's equivalent to 100,000-year soul beast. She lured him to the ice dragon whale and caused them to fight. The battle between the two of them changed the color of the sky and earth in the outer ring of the forest. Unfortunately, the human expert was no match for them and was forced to retreat. The mountain sea ice dragon whale was also severely injured. Qing Huang took advantage of the chaos to escape with her 2 companions. However, I heard that her 2 companions were not as strong as her. When they retreated, they were severely injured and separated from her. After that, she found out that her 2 companions had become soul rings of humans and disappeared. She immediately rushed into the inner ring of the forest to seek revenge on the mountain sea ice dragon whale. Hearing this, Wang Feng understood everything. He had thought it through. So that was the case. Ye and Xing Xing were both injured by the shockwaves of the battle between the mountain sea ice dragon whale and that titled Doulu. No wonder Ye had the scars of a titled Douluo on her body. Xing Xing was probably the same. However, she might have landed near Hulaina. Furthermore, this titled Douluo was most likely from the martial soul hall and brought Hulaina to the extreme north to obtain soul rings. This was because Wang Feng calculated that Hulaina was only rank 54. After absorbing Xing Xing's soul ring, she could increase by at least 2 to 3 ranks. This was because Xing Xing was not an ordinary 20,000-year soul beast. It was a mutated soul beast that had been healed and evolved many times by the Golden Lotus. In addition, it was compatible with Hulaina's martial soul. Little Qing was not hunted down by the titled Douluo. Instead, she made use of this titled Douluo. After that, I never heard from her again. It has been almost a year and I have never seen her, the violent snow crocodile said regretfully. I thought she went to the inner ring of the forest to seek revenge on the mountain sea ice dragon whale. I didn't expect her to still be alive. At this point, the violent snow crocodile was a little excited. It pouted its mouth at the green feather in Wang Feng's hand and said, I was bored yesterday, so I went to the inner ring of the forest. I didn't expect to see her feather. I was so happy that I wanted to share it with you. I didn't expect a human like you to be interested in Qing Huang. After hearing this, a fierce look flashed across Wang Feng's eyes. The mountain sea ice dragon whale. Wang Feng looked at the forest in the inner ring of the forest in the distance. He wanted to rush in at the next moment, but his rationality told him that he would be courting death if he went in now. There was no information at all. He didn't even know where little Qing was. There were too many soul beasts in the inner ring of the extreme north. Once he went in, it would be difficult to escape even if he could teleport. Without enough strength, he couldn't go in. Where is the mountain sea ice dragon whale? Wang Feng's face was a little gloomy. Why are you asking this? The violent snow crocodile sized up Wang Feng. Boss Feng, are you thinking of looking for the mountain sea ice dragon whale? Don't tell me you fell in love with Qing Huang. I advise you to give up this idea. Qing Huang doesn't even like us beasts, let alone a human like you. If you want to find the mountain sea ice dragon whale to seek revenge for Qing Huang, forget it. He is an overlord-class soul beast in the inner ring. Even if he doesn't have a 100,000-year cultivation, he is still stronger than those 100,000-year soul beasts. He also has a lot of subordinates. You will be courting death if you go there. Of course, I still admire your courage. The violent snow crocodile was right. As an overlord-class soul beast in the inner ring, the mountain sea ice dragon whale was undoubtedly powerful. According to Wang Feng's estimation, it was at least equivalent to a rank 94 or even rank 95 transcendent Douluo. Even if it was injured, it definitely wouldn't be weaker than the 2 titled Douluo in the Pope's palace that day. When he was in his best state that day, even the 2 titled Douluo could only have the upper hand. He couldn't kill them at all. How could he defeat this mountain sea ice dragon whale? Even if he created his own spear technique, his opponent wasn't just a soul beast. It had a lot of subordinates. For example, the violent snow crocodile was probably in the top 5 of the mountain sea ice dragon whale's subordinate. But if he reached rank 50, it would be different. Violent snow crocodile, from today onwards, you and I will go to the inner ring every other day. Wang Feng said calmly, I want to know how powerful the mountain sea ice dragon whale is and find little Qing, the news of Qing Huanger that you mentioned. No problem. It's just a trip. Moreover, I also want to find news of goddess Qing Huanger. P.S. I have to rush back to my hometown today and tomorrow. I only write 7 or 8 chapters a day. It's almost the new year, so I might not be able to keep up with 10 chapters for the time being. But I will write at least 50,000 words a day. Chapter 470. The sudden news of little Qing disrupted Wang Feng's cultivation plan a little, but Wang Feng was not reckless and impulsive. Instead, he prepared very methodically. It was not so simple to defeat the mountain sea ice dragon whale. If he went straight up, he would only suffer. Wang Feng did not want to be in the same situation as the martial spirit hall. He wanted to win for sure. Once he made his move, he would kill. He could not afford any mistakes. While cultivating, he continued to let the blizzard crocodile inquire about little Qing. At the same time, he inquired about the mountain sea ice dragon whale. At this time, Wang Feng was quite glad that he did not kill the blizzard crocodile. As a soul beast, the blizzard crocodile mixed in with the soul beast. Even if it went to the inner circle, it would be much safer than a human soul master. Because soul beasts and humans were hostile to each other, once Wang Feng entered the inner circle alone and found other powerful soul beasts, the other party's first reaction was to attack. But the blizzard crocodile was different. This guy had been in the extreme north for so many years. In addition, soul beasts had a certain communication channel. It was very suitable to use it as a tool to inquire about information. If he killed it before, Wang Feng would not even know about little Qing. Wang Feng was different from the humans in the Douluo world. He did not have much killing intent towards soul beasts, nor was he so hostile. Just like this, Wang Feng and the blizzard crocodile secretly entered the inner circle every other day to search. He did not neglect his cultivation. Coupled with the misty shadow soul skill in the skull, Wang Feng could enter the inner circle with another layer of protection. But in the next few months, the blizzard crocodile and Wang Feng did not find any news about little Qing. The inner circle of the extreme north was too big. There was a core area in the depth. According to the blizzard crocodile, there were soul beasts that were so powerful that his soul trembled. Wang Feng vaguely knew a little. The distribution of forces in the extreme north was quite different from what Wang Feng knew. There were several overlords in the inner circle. In the human world, they were all titled Douluo. Moreover, in this ice and snow environment, their innate strength was enhanced. Therefore, titled Douluo would not enter the inner circle without permission. Little Qing lured the martial spirit hall's titled Douluo because the mountain sea ice dragon whale came to the outer circle. As for the mountain sea ice dragon whale, it also had several powerful subordinates, each with at least 70,000 years of cultivation, and some with even 80,000 years of cultivation. However, in comparison, it wasn't considered a very strong and rare soul beast. It wasn't as strong as the blizzard crocodile. Other than that, there were also many 10,000-year soul beasts scattered throughout the icy ice dragon whale's territory. There were at least 50 or 60 of them. Logically speaking, Wang Feng was really taken aback upon hearing this number. Even if this mountain sea ice dragon whale were to be placed in the human world, it would still be a hegemon. One titled Douluo, several soul Douluo, and 50 to 60 soul emperors and soul kings. But fortunately, in the land of extreme north, there were not many such factions. Just what the violent blood crocodile knew, there were merely 5 major factions. The mountain sea ice dragon whale was the weakest. One could imagine how dangerous the far north was. However, this was also due to the sea ice dragon whale's unique bloodline. The other 4 overlords were all soul beasts that were over 100,000 years old. The fact that the mountain sea ice dragon whale was able to become one of the most powerful soul beasts, even with a cultivation of over 90,000 years, was a testament to its incredible intelligence and bloodline aptitude that far exceeded that of normal soul beasts. It also had a bunch of underlings. Such strength was not enough compared to the two human empires, but it was much stronger than those dukedoms and kingdoms. Boss Feng, it's not that I want to criticize you. Although you are very strong individually, you can only defeat the mountain sea ice dragon whale with just the two of us. The violent snow crocodile chuckled. Even if you can defeat the mountain sea ice dragon whale, it is very smart. It will call a bunch of underlings to attack you. You won't be able to escape then. Wang Feng. After another half a year, Wang Feng finally reached rank 49. However, as he learned more about the mountain sea ice dragon whale's strength, Wang Feng's frown deepened. The violent snow crocodile's words were exactly what Wang Feng was worried about. Rank 50 alone might not be enough. These soul beasts were highly intelligent. Even if he reached rank 50 and maxed out his Panga's axe, would he be able to leave this place alive if he were to challenge the ice sea ice dragon whale alone? Although the Red Lotus Karmic Fire and the God-slaying Spear could cause fatal damage to a life form of this level, it would not be so easy to kill the mountain sea ice dragon whale in a short time. Once the battle dragged on, the mountain sea ice dragon whale would ignore him. Furthermore, most of the soul beasts living in the extreme north were ice-type or mixed-type soul beasts. In such an environment, their strength would increase greatly. Even if he used the Ice Flame Fury Lotus, he would not be able to kill many unless he could use it continuously. However, the Ice Flame Fury Lotus needed a short period of time to accumulate power. The mountain sea ice dragon whale would not allow him to use it continuously. Wang Feng felt that he was very strong, but he was still not strong enough. He was not strong enough to suppress an organization. Right now, he had to use all his strength to kill an ordinary titled Douluo. Boss Feng, why don't you take in a few underlings too? The violent snow crocodile laughed again. In the past half a year, after you used that little flower to heal me, I feel that I have become much stronger. I have at least increased my cultivation by more than 5,000 years. It is almost 70,000 years of cultivation, and I feel that my ability has become much stronger too. It's very useful. The most important thing is that the aura on your body is not as annoying as that of those humans. The violent snow crocodile's words suddenly woke Wang Feng up. But Wang Feng slapped the violent snow crocodile's head. Yes, why didn't I think of this? Wang Feng had always been focused on increasing his own strength. However, increasing one's strength was a gradual process. It could not be achieved overnight. He had never thought of if he took in a few underlings, he could at least fight his way to the mountain sea ice dragon whale, right? He did not ask for much. It would be fine as long as they could block the mountain sea ice dragon whale's underlings. He would be done after dealing with the mountain sea ice dragon whale. He had the Golden Lotus. The Golden Lotus's effect had always been beyond Wang Feng's imagination. It was not that the Golden Lotus was the most impressive. In fact, the four forms of the Green Lotus were almost the same in terms of abilities. It was just that the most suitable situation for the Green Lotus to unleash its abilities to the greatest extent. For example, when he faced the two titled Douluo, the soul-slaying spear was the most suitable. In a large-scale battle, the Red Lotus's ability was the strongest. It could also use karmic fire to kill people without leaving a trace. Wang Feng dared to guarantee that the two soul Douluo from the Martial Soul Hall who attacked him back then would have died long ago. It could also temper the body. It could be said that the effect was equally great. The Black Lotus was the same. It could protect the lives of his teammates and himself at critical moment. Without the Black Lotus, he might have died in the Great Star Do Forest. Tang San and the others were saved by the Black Lotus several times, especially in the Pope's palace. If the Black Lotus did not appear in time and block the attack of the two titled Douluo, the situation would be completely different now. End of this chapter. Chapter 471. At that time, without the Black Lotus, Tang San would have been caught and attacked. Without the hammer, Wang Feng would have been dead by now. It could also absorb aura and store soul power for its own cultivation and use. Needless to say, the Soul Slayer Spear had the strongest attack. In a one-on-one battle, it was second only to the Panguak. Therefore, there was no saying which of these four forms was stronger. It depended on how one used them to maximize their power. The Golden Lotus was the first form of the Green Lotus, and its effect had always been very strong. Apart from the most basic recovery and healing abilities, the Golden Lotus at full power would emit a pure golden energy. It possessed all sorts of mysteries, and the most unique ability was that it could allow living beings to become stronger and even mutate. Those three little guys were like that. Later, Wang Feng used the Golden Lotus to mature a few immortal herbs to the greatest effect. In the past 6 months, the Blizzard Crocodile had suffered a lot of injuries because of fighting with him. Wang Feng felt that he had to raise this sandbag a little stronger, so he used the Golden Lotus to revive it a few times. It had to be said that in the past 6 months, it had indeed become a lot stronger. The icicles on its body had become harder and more resistant to beatings. Sometimes, Wang Feng's emotion-severing god could not cause fatal damage to it. The wind wings on its back were also dyed with a light golden color. The strong damage of the whistling hurricane was much stronger than when Wang Feng first encountered it. Its brain was also sharper, and its speech became more and more fluent. Now that it had made this suggestion, Wang Feng had never thought about it. "Boss Feng, why did you beat it?" the Blizzard Crocodile said with some grievance. "Young man, you've become a lot smarter." Wang Feng patted the huge body of the Blizzard Crocodile. "Your idea is very constructive. Boss Feng has decided to accept it. Moreover, taking in a few more underlings would be beneficial for him to inquire about Little Qing. After all, the extreme north was so big and there were so many types of soul beasts. It was too slow for one person and one beast to find it. That's good. I'm very familiar with the powerful soul beasts in the outer circle. Many of them knew Goddess Qing Huang. However, because that bastard ice dragon whale killed a lot of them, those who survived are very afraid. If he knew that you were going to go against the ice dragon whale, he probably wouldn't want to be your underling." The Blizzard Crocodile scratched its back with its tail. "But there are some who are very stubborn and want to take revenge. I know a few of them." Wang Feng nodded. How powerful was the ice dragon whale? How could it fight against it? Wasn't that courting death? The soul beasts in the outer circle weren't stupid. The violent snow crocodile had developed some feelings for Wang Feng over the past 6 months. In addition, it was also a little hot-blooded, so it was naturally not afraid. Therefore, when they knew that Wang Feng wanted to deal with the ice dragon whale, they were not afraid. Instead, they supported him. They just did not want to die for nothing. Just like that, Wang Feng had another goal in his journey to level 50, to recruit underlings. Wang Feng's requirements weren't high. He only wanted 3 to 4 strong beasts. It would be best if they could stop the 60 to 80,000 year soul beasts under the ice dragon whale. As for those below 60,000 years, Wang Feng's Ice Flame Fury Lotus would have enough time to unleash it as long as his lackeys supported it. Therefore, Wang Feng wasn't afraid at all. There were actually many soul beasts above 10,000 years in the outer circle. However, there were very few that met his requirement. The first soul beast that the violent snow crocodile introduced to Wang Feng was a soul beast called the Ice Kira. It was a terrifying soul beast with the earth and ice attributes. It also had the bloodline of ancient frost beasts. It was a very rare soul beast. If it matured, it wouldn't be inferior to the ice dragon whale. According to the information that the violent snow crocodile knew from the soul beast world, this Ice Kira's father, Ice Kira, was once an overlord in the inner circle. He had a cultivation of over 90,000 years. However, around 100 years ago, he was killed by the ice dragon whale when he was fighting for the position of the fifth overlord. This Ice Kira couldn't have survived. In the end, its mother used some kind of bloodline forbidden technique to send it out. However, its mother died because of this. It had been hiding in the outer forest all these years and didn't appear much. Both parents are dead and it has a blood feud. It was born with two types of ancient bloodlines. It's the main character among soul beasts. After hearing the violent snow crocodile's introduction of the Ice Kira, Wang Feng was shocked. He didn't expect soul beasts to have such special circumstances. Where is it now? Wang Feng asked. If the violent snow crocodile was true, then this Ice Kira was a good choice. After all, the ice dragon whale had a blood feud with it. It usually only lives in the ice mountains or the earth. I was fortunate enough to see it once. The violent snow crocodile was anxious. However, it only has a cultivation of over 40,000 years. It doesn't even have 50,000 years. It especially hates other soul beasts finding it. The last time I found it, it wanted to kill me. Fortunately, I ran away quickly. Run? You can't beat it? Wang Feng asked. You can't beat a 40,000-year soul beast with 60,000 years of cultivation? It's really Ice Kira. The violent snow crocodile's face turned red. It can't be helped. It is a little against me. That guy has the bloodline of ancient frost beasts. When it fights, it is crazy and can use the power of the earth to seal me. I can't fly away. In addition, it has a huge body and is a few meters taller than me. It is very heavy. My hurricane can't blow it away. The violent snow crocodile explained frantically. However, my hurricane has evolved and is stronger now. It definitely can't beat me. Furthermore, don't I still have you, Boss Feng? Wang Feng smiled. Bring me to it. The violent snow crocodile nodded and brought Wang Feng to find it. After walking for more than 10 kilometers to the west from the wooden house, the surrounding snow and trees were much fewer. Although they weren't close to the inner circle, the temperature had dropped. Just as the violent snow crocodile said, the Ice Kira would affect the surrounding temperature. The place where it was located would be much lower than the outer circle. Wang Feng sensed that the nearby temperature was close to -70 degrees. It was more than 20 degrees. This showed that the Ice Kira was indeed very strong. Soon, the violent snow crocodile brought Wang Feng out of the ice forest in the outer circle. Looking ahead, there was a stretch of ice mountains that were undulating and the scenery was quite good. It was about a few kilometers away from them. At this moment, there were a few rumbling sounds in front of them as if something was fighting. Quick, Boss Feng, it's that guy's aura. It seems that he is still fighting. The violent snow crocodile said and flew into the air. Just in case, I will fly first. Wang Feng. One man and one beast walked for about a few hundred meters before Wang Feng finally saw what was going on. In front of them, there was a giant beast that was more than 10 meters tall that was fighting with an ice shark. The giant beast's body was extremely huge, and its whole body was ice blue. It was standing, and its whole body was in the shape of a trapezoid. The higher it was, the smaller it was, and the lower it was, the bigger it was. Especially the lower half of its body, in the abdomen, there was a yellow crystal, but it was incomparably dark. Its legs were thicker than those ice trees, and its hands were several times smaller. Its head was much smaller than its body, about the size of 3 or 4 heads of a normal human. It looked a bit like the Godzilla in Wang Feng's memory of his previous life. End of chapter. Chapter 472. But it wasn't that big. It was much smaller. It was also more aesthetically pleasing. After all, it had an ice blue body. The ice crystals on its body were like armor. If one looked at it from afar, one would think that it was an iceberg. Wang Feng and the violent snow crocodile watched for a while, and didn't intend to make a move. Because that ice shark wasn't its opponent at all. It was a one-sided trampling. This ice shark was just an ordinary 10,000-year soul beast that lived mostly in ice rivers. Although it had a cultivation of around 40,000 years, it was simply a little brother in front of this ice Kira. The ice Kira stepped on the ice shark's stomach and stomped out a colorful thing. Then, it grabbed the ice shark's tail and swung it around crazily. Not long after, that ice shark died. But the ice Kira didn't stop and continued to ravage crazily. That ice shark is already dead. Why isn't it stopping? Does it have violent tendencies? Wang Feng clicked his tongue secretly. But this kind of soul beast had violent tendencies. It was normal for it to vent its anger. That's not it. It usually doesn't make a move. The violent snow crocodile shook its head. It is whipping the corpse. It must ravage that ice shark into a pile of meat before it stops. Using Boss Feng's human words, it is being cautious. Wang Feng was stunned. Why? I roughly know this, the violent snow crocodile whispered. When its father fought with the ice dragon whale, its father was stronger. It thought that it had killed the ice dragon whale, and turned to leave confidently. In the end, it was killed by the ice dragon whale. At that time, it should have seen this scene, so it developed this habit of whipping corpses. Wang Feng, why do you soul beasts have such a story? Looking at the ice shark that gradually turned into a pile of meat, Wang Feng's mouth twitched. This ice Kira was obviously very strong, but it was being overly cautious. Right at this moment, the ice Kira was ravaging the ice shark with its whip when it suddenly swung it. This swing was directly aimed at Wang Feng. Wang Feng was caught off guard. The ice shark's flesh and blood scattered. The violent snow crocodile quivered and spread its wings. It directly burst out a hurricane and blew the flesh and blood away. Wang Feng gently stomped his foot and burst out a terrifying aura, scattering the flesh and blood. Roar. However, that wasn't the end. The ice Kira quickly attacked Wang Feng. His body was huge, and his speed did not seem fast. However, every step he took covered a distance of more than 10 meters. Moreover, with every step he took, countless icicles gushed out from the surrounding icy ground. These icicles were at least more than 10 meters tall. When they stood up, they wrapped Wang Feng and the blizzard crocodile like dumplings. From afar, Wang Feng and the violent snow crocodile seemed to be covered by an ice nest, and they were trapped. Roar, roar, roar. The violent snow crocodile hurriedly roared a few times at the ice Jira. It seemed to be fusing its spiritual consciousness into the roar and transmitting it to the other party. The ice Jira's momentum paused and it slowly stopped. Following that, the two soul beasts began to roar. Wang Feng watched quietly. Soul beasts had a special way of communicating with their mind. Usually, they would fuse their voices with their roars to form a special language. If one wasn't familiar with this method of spiritual communication, they wouldn't be able to sense it. When Xingxing met Wang Feng for the second time, she was already able to communicate with Wang Feng in this way. This was because he had been healed twice by the Golden Lotus and gained a lot of intelligence. Right now, Wang Feng didn't know about the Ice Jira's spiritual consciousness. The Ice Jira obviously didn't know how to speak human language. The violent snow crocodile only learned to speak human language after being taught by Wang Feng for half a year. After another half a year, it became more fluent. As it roared, the Ice Jira seemed to have touched on something sad and became angry. His bean-sized eyes were filled with a blood-red light. What did you say? Wang Feng's eyes narrowed. The violent snow crocodile was sweating profusely as he replied. I said, don't you know how your parents died? As long as you submit to Boss Feng, my boss can help you take revenge, and help you become stronger. He might even help you find Wang Feng, this stupid eagle crocodile, who wouldn't be angry when he brought up someone's sad matter. However, the violent snow crocodile wasn't a negotiation expert. It wasn't wise for him to persuade the ice Jira like a fool. Seeing the increasingly violent ice Jira, Wang Feng frowned and said, "I will fight with him. You go down." For soul beasts, strength was everything. There was nothing to say. Wang Feng didn't expect the violent snow crocodile to persuade the ice Jira. He only wanted the violent snow crocodile to state his intentions, but, Boss Feng, you have to be careful. I won't help you. 2 against 1 isn't fair. He won't be convinced. The violent snow crocodile laughed. This fellow is very strong. The more you fight, the stronger he gets. If you accidentally activate his bloodline power, Boss Feng, you will be beaten up. The blizzard crocodile's understanding of Wang Feng was still stuck in the situation where Wang Feng only used one gear to apply the deified state. He didn't know anything about Wang Feng's strength. Wang Feng snorted coldly. As he looked at the ice Jira, a black light flashed across his eyes. He hid his mysterious underworld armor and entered second gear. Divine transformation! Soul-devouring blood wings! He quickly entered third gear, which was close to fourth gear. Wang Feng didn't use third gear and fourth gear very often. Third gear was the foundation of second gear. He only used his divine transformation soul skills to control the mysterious underworld armor to hide and block the enemy's attack. Fourth gear was to use all of his soul skills. Other than using his divine transformation soul skills, Wang Feng also used the soul-slaying spear soul skills. He planned to end the battle as soon as possible and not give his opponent any chance to fight back. Because of the absolute wind thunder spear technique, Wang Feng had become much stronger. Otherwise, he would have needed to use third gear to train with the violent snow crocodile. With the absolute wind thunder spear technique, he only needed to use first gear to use his divine transformation soul skills to directly beat up the violent snow crocodile. As the 2 blood wings on his back flashed, Wang Feng's body was surrounded by golden lightning as he used his divine transformation soul skill. A cool breeze blew. Wang Feng's aura soared. The violent snow crocodile behind him was astonished. It had seen the golden lightning on Wang Feng's body before. Wang Feng often used it during training because only by using his divine transformation soul skills could he use the first style of the absolute wind thunder god. However, the violent snow crocodile had never seen the blood wings on Wang Feng's back and the mysterious long spear with blood-colored patterns. My goodness, what is this? The violent snow crocodile swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at the fierce long spear in Wang Feng's hand. It could naturally feel the terrifying aura contained in the long spear. It's the aura of the blood-winged dragon beetle. Looking at the situation, it should be stronger than me. The violent snow crocodile thought for a moment. That beast is extremely ferocious and doesn't have any bestial instincts. Normally, it wouldn't appear here, but it's notorious. We only have mutated ice-winged dragon beetles here. It had lived in the extreme north for many years and had some understanding of most of the soul beasts. At this moment, the ice Kira on the opposite side also felt the terrifying aura that Wang Feng was emitting. A hint of vigilance appeared in its blood-colored eyes. End of chapter. Chapter 473. Wang Feng's soul power undulations weren't high. He was only at rank 49. He wasn't even comparable to a 10,000-year soul beast. However, his aura was far stronger than what a soul beast of his rank should have. The ice Kira roared. You want me to submit to a human? Are you kidding me? Only a despicable crocodile with no integrity and dignity would make such a choice. It was an ice Kira with an ancient bloodline. It would never submit to a human. Right at this moment, Wang Feng shouted in a low voice. Emptiness! In an instant, in Wang Feng's perception, it was as if everything had stopped. The ice Kira wasn't fast to begin with. In Wang Feng's eyes, it was as if a camera had stopped it. Spirit severing. Wang Feng took a deep breath. This was his first time using the soul-slaying spear to execute the wind-lightning godly spear. Previously, Wang Feng had used the mysterious underworld spike to execute the wind-lightning godly spear. But now, he was using the god-slaying spear. The spear had changed, and the concept behind it seemed to have changed as well. However, it was still under Wang Feng's control. A gust of wind blew around him, and the pale golden lightning around him fused into the soul-slaying spear. Gold, black, and red. The three colors intertwined. This caused the soul-slaying spear to shine brightly. Not only did it carry the original aura of blood, but it also carried the aura of wind and lightning. The three streaks of air intertwined with the god-slaying spear. In the next moment, he turned into a golden lightning bolt, and the god-slaying spear emitted a terrifying aura as it attacked the ice Kira. Extremely fast. This was Wang Feng's first time using the god-slaying spear to execute the wind-lightning godly spear in the emptiness. After changing his equipment and increasing his status, it was naturally different. Swish, swish, swish. A golden lightning bolt with a terrifying aura exploded on the ice Kira's body. Every time it exploded, the ice crystal armor on the ice Kira's body would shatter. However, the wounds weren't fatal. From afar, the ice Kira's body was covered by a golden lightning bolt. Countless wounds appeared on its body at a speed visible to the naked eye. They were all wounds caused by the god-slaying spear. However, the ice Kira didn't seem to move. Only its eyes moved, but its body didn't move at all. A few seconds later, in Wang Feng's eyes, Wang Feng returned to his original spot. His entire body was steaming hot. The tricolored light of the god-slaying spear crazily intertwined, emitting bursts of mist. Release. Wang Feng muttered under his breath. In an instant, the emptiness realm was lifted. Time seemed to have sped up, and the whistling of the icy wind sounded again. Rumble. Blood spurted out from every wound on the ice Kira's body. Its huge body swayed in all directions before it fell to the ground with a boom. In the void realm, Wang Feng's speed was extremely fast. Of course, this wasn't because time had stopped, but because the difference in speed between the two sides was too great. Just like how the Flash could run around the city in 1 second, in the world where the Flash was running, most people were relatively still. The state of emptiness was similar, but there was an even greater difference. In the emptiness state, his perception would be increased by 10 times. Everything about the other party would be slowed down to the maximum. Any of his movements would be difficult to see in the other party's eyes. The increase in perception meant that his entire body would have super powerful reactions. The emptiness realm was the main reason why Wang Feng had been able to gain the upper hand against the two-titled Doulu. Without the emptiness realm, Wang Feng could only barely resist the two-titled Douluo with his various enhancements. He wouldn't have been able to gain the upper hand at all. Furthermore, he would have been more severely injured. He might not have been able to hold on before the Bibidon landed. He wouldn't have beaten the two-titled Douluo until they were about to lose their fighting strength. However, the depletion of the emptiness realm was extremely great. Wang Feng couldn't hold on for long, especially when he was in his best state. How long the emptiness realm could last wasn't completely determined by Wang Feng's soul power. Instead, it was determined by Wang Feng's overall abilities and physique. To suppress the ice Kira as much as possible, Wang Feng activated his third gear and entered the emptiness realm. In order not to hurt the other party, Wang Feng didn't hit the ice Kira's fatal spot with his termination god. Otherwise, the ice Kira might have died. As the ice Kira fell to the ground, countless cracks appeared on the icy ground. The violent snow crocodile at the back had its mouth wide open as it watched in disbelief. What just happened? It didn't even see it clearly. The ice Kira was defeated? Although it knew that Wang Feng's special spear skill was very fast and terrifying, it didn't think that it was possible. However, it couldn't be like this. It didn't see anything at all. It seemed to have barely seen Wang Feng disappear for an instant and return. After that, the Ice Kira's body exploded with blood, and it fell to the ground? Isn't he too strong? The blizzard crocodile broke out in cold sweat. It thought to itself, if Boss Feng treated me like this the first time I met him, wouldn't I have died long ago? No wonder Boss Feng wanted to attack the ice dragon whale. If he had such abilities, it might really be possible. The abilities that Wang Feng had displayed had overturned its crocodile life. The blizzard crocodile silently flew in front of Wang Feng. As it looked at Wang Feng, who was emitting fog, it carefully asked, "Boss Feng, is the Ice Kira dead?" After it finished speaking, it stole a glance at the god-slaying spear. It was so frightened that it quickly turned its eyes away. It was really frightening. The god-slaying spear was an ultimate treasure. Even if it was only formed by a martial soul, even a titled Douluo would be afraid of it. What more a 60,000-year beast? No. Wang Feng shook his head and exhaled. He walked over and said, "It has temporarily lost its fighting ability." The emptiness realm consumed a lot of energy, although it only lasted for a moment. The blizzard crocodile nodded and walked in front of the Ice Kira. The Ice Kira was too big. Even if it fell to the ground, it was still like a small hill. Violent Snow Crocodile walked a little closer and was shocked. The wounds all over Ice Kira's body were exuding an aura of intertwined black blood. Coupled with the power of wind and thunder, many wounds were covered and twisted into a bloody mess. Although this kind of wound was nothing to the huge Ice Kira, the problem was that there were too many wounds, and from the looks of it, there was no way to heal them. The blizzard crocodile knew that the Ice Kira's bloodline had a super strong self-healing ability. Normally, wounds like these could be healed quickly, but it was useless now. "We don't have time to teach it to speak. You communicate with it." Wang Feng retrieved the god-slaying spear and said, "Tell it that my goal is the ice dragon whale too. When the time comes, it can kill the enemy with its own hand. If it still doesn't submit, blink. If it agrees, blink twice and I will heal it immediately." The blizzard crocodile nodded and roared at the Ice Kira. The Ice Kira was silent. "Brother, don't hesitate. Follow Boss Feng. In the future, you will eat and drink well. You will be happy even when you sleep." The blizzard crocodile said to the Ice Kira. The Ice Kira, Wang Feng. After a long time, the Ice Kira was still silent. End of this chapter. Chapter 474. Wang Feng frowned slightly. This Ice Kira was indeed very strong. If he didn't have the Void Realm, he would have to use a lot of strength even if he used third gear. In terms of vitality, this Ice Kira was stronger than the blizzard crocodile. And this was only 40,000 years ago. In terms of bloodline, this Ice Kira was not inferior to Erming. This was because its bloodline had yet to fully awaken. This kind of soul beast had experienced a special encounter since young. Its intelligence was completely different from the fierce blizzard crocodile. Although he had defeated it instantly, Wang Feng wasn't sure if it would submit. If it really didn't submit, Wang Feng had no choice. When Wang Feng was about to give up, he saw the Ice Kira blink its eyes. Seeing this, Wang Feng revealed a smile. The world of soul beasts was actually equally exciting. It was just that it lacked the various new things of the human world. But relatively speaking, it was purer and more realistic. Wang Feng had already seen this clearly from the violent snow crocodile. Now that this Ice Kira was willing to submit, Wang Feng had nothing to say. He directly used the Golden Lotus to heal its injuries. "Boss Feng, I want it too." The blizzard crocodile stared at Wang Feng and laughed. He had experienced the golden energy of the Golden Lotus a few times and felt very good. "You are not injured, so you are not of much use," Wang Feng said. "Also, your body contains the remaining energy of the Golden Lotus. You haven't finished absorbing it yet. Otherwise, you would have been beaten up by me like this. Can I help you speed up your absorption? Blizzard crocodile. It hurriedly looked into the distance as if it hadn't said anything. Bingjira's injuries weren't something that could be healed with a simple beating. It looked like he was in a lot of pain. Soon, under the healing of the golden lotus, the ice Kira quickly recovered. However, because of its huge body, it took Wang Feng half an hour to completely heal it. After that, it stood up and roared a few times at Wang Feng. Brother Ice said that he will recognize you as his boss in the future. The Blizzard crocodile translated, Boss Feng, don't worry. In the future, I will personally ask him to speak human language. With its intelligence that is not inferior to mine, it should be able to learn very quickly. Wang Feng nodded slightly. However, the truth was that the Ice Kira only used half a month to learn to speak human language or communicate with his mind. Compared to the Blizzard crocodile, it was much faster. Bankira's personality was like that of a 17 or 18-year-old boy. Even if he learned how to speak, he still used his consciousness to communicate with Wang Feng. Wang Feng understood Bingji's personality. After all, he was a child who had watched his parents die with his own eyes. He had grown up alone since he was young. If it were him, he would also have the same personality. Moreover, compared to the Blizzard crocodile, the Ice Kira was more eager to become stronger. Every time it trained with Wang Feng, it was required to beat it until it couldn't move. This was because only then could it speed up the absorption of the Golden Lotus energy and carry out a true evolution to become stronger, or activate the bloodline power in its body. It could only be considered to be in its growth stage. About a month later, Wang Feng decided to accept a third follower. Wang Feng's goal was to recruit 3 or 4 people. The stronger, the better. The third target was provided by Ice Kira. Under the ground of the outer circle forest, there are glaciers. There's a very powerful soul beast in the ice river that's even stronger than me. On this day, Wang Feng and Ice Kira finished their training in the ice mountain. Ice Kira said calmly. Its body was huge, and when it spoke, it was also thunderous. Compared to the Blizzard crocodile's voice, it was more intimidating. Glaciers. The Blizzard crocodile was also surprised. Brother Ice, are you talking about it? But it rarely appears on the ground. It usually lives under the ice river. Although it's strong, it's very difficult to find it. The Blizzard crocodile seemed to know something. What is this? I really don't know why Boss Feng accepted a trash crocodile like you. Ice Kira snorted and said proudly, since Boss Feng wants to deal with the ice dragon whale, I naturally have to help it find someone stronger than me. In the outer circle forest, there are only a few who are stronger than me. It barely counts as one. However, it is in the late stage of growth. If I reach its age, I won't be weaker than it. Blizzard crocodile. I'm not weak, okay? I'm a wind-winged blizzard crocodile, an overlord in the outer circle forest. The Blizzard crocodile let out a long sigh. What is it? Wang Feng asked. What's its name? Glaciers? Wang Feng knew there was a glaciers. When he came to the extreme north, Wang Feng checked the surroundings. However, when he heard Ice Kira say that there was a glaciers under the outer circle forest, he was rather surprised. Ice Kira said, It's called the Dark North King Devil Kuan. Kuan? Wang Feng was surprised. That's right. The Blizzard crocodile continued. This guy is the overlord of the glaciers. There is actually a glaciers under our forest. Not only does it cover the outer circle, it also includes the inner circle. The water in this glaciers isn't simple. Speaking of this, the Blizzard crocodile paused and continued. Brother Ice is a landlubber and is very afraid of entering the glaciers. Most of the ice-type soul beasts in the snow forest are afraid of entering the glaciers. Only a rare and powerful tripod soul beast like me can enter the glaciers. However, I don't dare to stay for too long. Wang Feng, Ice Kira. To a certain extent, the Blizzard crocodile was indeed a tripod soul beast. This dark North King Devil Kuan is the overlord of the glaciers in the outer circle. The blizzard crocodile continued, it is indeed very powerful. All Kuan soul beasts are very powerful, not to mention those with the title of Emperor Devil. With Boss Feng's intelligence, you should know from its name that it definitely has an ancient bloodline, and it has more than one. It has both the Dark North King Devil Kuan and the Dark North King Devil Kuan bloodline. In the glaciers, it has the innate pressure of an emperor to countless soul beasts. It is very powerful and has a cultivation of more than 50,000 years. However, it is stronger than 70,000-year soul beasts and is not inferior at all. It is already the strongest overlord in the outer circle and is much stronger than me. If it reaches 90,000 years, it can enter the inner circle and compete with the ice dragon whale for the position of the inner circle 5 overlord. I remember that the ice dragon whale wanted to subdue it before, but it couldn't find its location. Wang Feng nodded slightly. No wonder Ice Kira admitted the strength of this soul beast despite his pride. But it is too difficult to find. Ice Kira shook his head. The size of the glaciers is unimaginable. Even if it is only active in the outer circle, I can't find it. Hearing this, Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. Will there be any special situation where it is? For example, soul power will be rapidly drained near its location? Ice Kira and the blizzard crocodile were startled. Boss Feng, you have seen it before? The blizzard crocodile was surprised. This is one of its unique abilities. As long as you are near it, your soul power will be rapidly drained. It is very terrifying. Wang Feng smiled and said, I know where it is. Let's go and find it. I should be able to write 2 or 3 chapters when I reach home at 9 p.m. Please count the votes. End of chapter. Chapter 475. In fact, when he heard about the Dark North Emperor Devil Kuan, Wang Feng thought of the Ice River. The image of the Ice River was too deep. When Wang Feng found that place, he felt an indescribable sense of strangeness. He even used his skull to sense it, but he didn't find anything. That ice river was rather big, comparable to some large lake. However, because it was under the ice, Wang Feng wasn't sure how big it was. However, Wang Feng remembered the special environment very clearly. The man and the 2 beasts chatted as they walked. Wang Feng sat on the Ice Kira's shoulder. It was too big and couldn't shrink for the time being. Although the Ice Kira wasn't good at speed, that was only in battle. In fact, it was very fast, and one big step could cover dozens of meters. As it wasn't in a hurry, Wang Feng wanted to know more, so he stood on its shoulder. The Ice Kira's body was really big. It was 1.8 meters tall, but its shoulder was still a little spacious. The first time I saw this Dark North Emperor Devil Kuan was 30 years ago. It was making weird sounds then. Using the words you taught me, it was practicing singing and jumping out of the ice river. The blizzard crocodile recalled. I think this is its hobby, right? After that, I saw it a few more times and heard its cries. Every time it jumped out of the ice river, I thought, how can there be such a big soul beast? Hearing this, Wang Feng couldn't help but ask, you soul beasts have hobbies? After he asked, Wang Feng thought, it doesn't seem to be a problem. It's normal for soul beasts to have hobbies. When I left the Great Star Dough Forest, I gave Ming a stick and gave it 2 names. I wonder if Ming likes it. I think he likes it, of course. I like to stay in the cave. I don't go out, but I occasionally go out to look for food. The blizzard crocodile answered. Wang Feng sized up the blizzard crocodile with a strange expression. TSK, I didn't expect it to be in Odontosuchus. It must have been caught that day when it came out to look for food. I guess Brother Bing's hobbies are fighting and cultivation. The blizzard crocodile flew in midair with its head facing the Ice Kira. Wang Feng nodded. That was indeed the case. Ice Kira was training almost all the time. Compared to when Wang Feng first obtained the meteoric tier, he was even more hard-working. He really didn't know how the meteoric tear had come about all these years. It was no wonder that he was able to force the blizzard crocodile to flee with his 40,000 years of cultivation. Of course, this was partly due to their bloodline, but it was inseparable from Ice Kira's hard work in cultivation. Ice Kira didn't say anything, which could be considered as a tacit agreement. Soon, Wang Feng and the other two arrived at the ice river. As soon as they arrived, the Ice Kira and the blizzard crocodile stared at each other. His eyes were clearly saying, "That's right, this place is indeed the special aura that the Dark North Lord Devil Kuan can create." Even they could clearly feel their soul force rapidly depleting. Other than the Dark North Emperor Kraken, there was probably no other soul beast in the forest that possessed such a powerful ability. A normal soul cultivator would have thought that this was a naturally formed terrain. "Boss Feng, how do we get it out?" The blizzard crocodile looked at the surface of the ice river. The surface of the ice was at least 4 to 5 meters thick. An ordinary 10,000-year soul beast might not be able to break through it. The surface of the ice was light blue and incomparably hard. Wang Feng muttered to himself for a moment and looked at the sky. He had two methods. This ice river was relatively large, and he didn't know how deep it was. He also didn't know the exact location of the Dark North Lord Devil Kuan. However, if he could use the second style of the absolute god of wind and lightning, he could draw upon the power of thunder and lightning. In addition to his own spear concept, he could break through the ice river and let the power of wind and lightning enter the icy water below the ice river. He would definitely be able to cause great damage to the soul beast under the ice river. This would awaken the Dark North Lord Devil Kuan. The might of the absolute god of wind and lightning was extremely terrifying. This method was definitely worth a try. Thinking like this, Wang Feng told the other two of his methods and decided to wait for the weather. About 5 days later, a thundercloud appeared. Wang Feng and the two of them discussed for a while. When the thunderclouds were at their densest, "Odontasuchus, use your hurricane with all your strength later. Shunbing, break the ice layer in the center later," Wang Feng said in a deep voice. The two soul beasts nodded. According to their personalities and hobbies, Wang Feng gave them names, Odontasuchus and Shunbing, which were easy to remember. According to Wang Feng's estimation, the Dark North Lord Devil Kuan should be hibernating and cultivating here. This kind of soul beast would normally conceal its aura when cultivating, making it difficult for others to detect. In addition, it could automatically absorb the soul power of living beings within its domain. It could be said that it was very difficult to find a solution. If one didn't understand this characteristic, it would be very difficult to find it. Even if one found it, it would be very difficult to awaken it. The man and the two soul beasts were very far apart, standing in a triangle. Thunderclouds rolled in the sky. Wang Feng entered the third form again. His body flickered with golden light, and black and red energies intertwined. At this time, the blizzard crocodile's slightly pale golden wings suddenly attacked Wang Feng's position. 2 hurricanes were formed, and these hurricanes were almost solid, forming 2 currents that included Wang Feng. The second style of the absolute god of wind and lightning required Wang Feng to use extremely powerful hurricanes and heavenly thunder to form the true power of wind and lightning. It was also because of the blizzard crocodile's hurricanes that Wang Feng had comprehended this move. On the other side, the Ice Kira was carefully watching. It needed to cooperate with Wang Feng, and when Wang Feng drew upon the wind and thunder of heaven and earth, it would break through the ice so that the power of this move would fuse into the bottom of the river. At this moment, Wang Feng raised his head and looked at the thunderclouds in the sky. He spread his blood wings and rose into the clouds. The hurricanes formed a strong current that followed him. Wang Feng used his soul power to drive this hurricane, turning it into a tornado that revolved around his body, condensing an even more terrifying wind in the clouds. Holding the god-slaying spear, he formed the mysterious underworld spike into a tall lightning rod, standing on the tip of the god-slaying spear to receive the heavenly thunder to the greatest extent. Boom! The deep purple lightning bolts crashed down towards Wang Feng's lightning rod formed by the mysterious dark spike. The mysterious underworld spike had an extremely strong conductive effect, and it could completely guide the power of the heavenly thunder to the god-slaying spear. The heavenly thunder that was as thick as a water bucket made the two soul beasts feel a little afraid. Today's heavenly thunder was especially strong. Xiantian lifeforms had an instinctive fear of such heavenly thunder. This heavenly thunder wasn't the lightning of Wang Feng's divine soul skill, and its power was many times stronger. It was the true power of heaven and earth. The wind thunder absolute god spear that Wang Feng had created, in itself, borrowed the power of heaven and earth to form a huge attack. In terms of the grade of this move, it had already surpassed many soul skills in the Douluo continent. The lightning bolt that was as thick as a water bucket struck Wang Feng's body directly. From afar, he couldn't be seen at all. Wang Feng's expression didn't change. The aura around his body was strengthened by the power of heaven and earth, wind and lightning. The aura of absolute terror filled the entire ice river. Heaven and earth, wind and lightning. Wang Feng closed his eyes. Purple lightning intertwined with the god-slaying spear, faintly reflecting the blood-red and black colors of the spear body, forming an airflow that resembled three huge dragons. Right at this moment, Bingji roared furiously and its feet shook the ground. Intense soul power undulations formed gusts of wild wind, and the layer of ice in the middle of the ice river suddenly exploded. The layer of ice that was several meters thick instantly shattered into pieces. It formed a huge circular hole. "Brother Bing, retreat!" The violent snow crocodile roared at Bingji. Wang Feng's move was extremely powerful. If the two of them were hit by it, they would die. Even the aftershocks would injure the two soul beasts. Since they had already helped, they naturally had to retreat. Bingji nodded and dragged its huge body away from the ice river. It retreated until it was 1,000 meters away. From afar, it looked at Wang Feng, who was shining like a star. End of chapter. Chapter 476. What a powerful force. Is this Boss Feng's self-created secret art? Ice Kira watched from afar as thoughts ran through its mind. Can I create a similar secret art? I'm Ice Kira. I'm born with the power to control earth and ice. I can do it. Too powerful. This move is many times stronger than the one he used against me the other day. The blizzard crocodile watched from the other side. When Wang Feng first created it, the most primitive heaven, earth, lightning was only at the first tier. But now, with the third tier and soul-devouring blood wings, the difference was naturally huge. Wang Feng fell like a meteorite and smashed into the ice layer. Boom, boom, boom. Intense light exploded from the center. Countless ice cubes melted rapidly with the light. Pillars of water dozens of meters tall burst out from the ice river. This was the real god of wind and lightning. It was indeed powerful. Not only did it have a powerful single-point attack, but it also had an extremely powerful group attack. It was only slightly inferior to Panga's axe. Its range was even bigger than Ice Flame Fury Lotus. The disadvantage was that there were too many conditions. It took too long to accumulate power. If it was used against an enemy, it would be defeated or run away before it could finish accumulating power. When Wang Feng could control the power of wind and lightning, he should be able to fully use this move. More than half of the glacier seemed to tremble. That terrifying momentum was already a dazzling scene. Even the violent snow crocodile and the ice Kira were stunned. They were terrified by the attack brought about by these two forces of heaven and earth. Roar, roar. Vaguely, a loud sound could be heard from the bottom of the ice river. The blizzard crocodile and ice Kira looked at each other. Dark North King Devil Kraken had awakened. Rumble. It was as if the entire ice river was shaking. It was as if some horrifying creature was moving rhythmically from the bottom of the ice river. Wang Feng quickly flew into the air and looked down. Through the countless shattered ice layers, he could see purple lightning flashing on the surface of the ice water. The rolling water formed a tornado that allowed Wang Feng to see the scene dozens of meters below. He also saw the gigantic dark North King Devil Kraken. It was really huge. Its entire body was black and gold. Its eyes were at least 60 meters long. It had 2 light blue wings that were at least 60 meters wide when it stretched out. A normal plane was less than 30 meters long, and its wingspan was only about 30 meters. This thing was twice the size of a plane. And it was still in the growth stage. If it was in the mature stage, it would be hundreds of meters or even thousands of meters long. It was Wang Feng's first time seeing such a huge beast. And it was only a 50,000-year-old giant beast. Could it be that this fellow was the only one in the entire continent? Boss Feng, it seems like it's escape. It probably knows that it can't defeat you. You scared it with your move just now. In the distance, the roars of the blizzard crocodile and the ice Kira could be heard. Hearing this, Wang Feng was stunned. Run? Was it afraid? That was impossible. This demonic Emperor Kuan's aura was much stronger than the blizzard crocodile and the ice Kira. Logically speaking, he was in 3rd gear, so he should not be able to fight like before. We can't communicate with it. It refuses to communicate with us. The blizzard alligator continued. It's very fast. It might be running away. The dark North King Devil Kraken was a soul beast with no weaknesses. It wasn't afraid of anything and was extremely strong in all aspects. Speed, strength, physique, etc. It was known as a hexagonal warrior and wasn't afraid of any element. The violent snow crocodile was more afraid of soul beasts like the ice Kira that could control the power of the earth. The ice Kira wasn't good at entering the sea. This dark North King Devil Kraken didn't have any weaknesses. If it wanted to run, no one could stop it. This was also the reason why it hadn't been subdued. Even if the 100,000-year-old Overlord-class soul beasts in the inner circle found it, it would escape. This demonic soul kraken is so cowardly. It is obviously stronger than us, but it didn't fight with Boss Feng. The violent snow crocodile couldn't help but say, "Brother Bing, you are cautious. This guy is really cowardly. It wants to run the moment it woke up." The ice Kira was silent. Wang Feng's current strength wasn't that exaggerated. Wang Feng didn't activate the Void Realm, but the demonic soul kraken didn't even look and ran away. We might not have a chance now. Once this guy runs away, we don't know where it will run to. The violent snow crocodile said, "Our boss Feng is so powerful and can help us evolve. It is its loss for the little Kuan to run away like this." The ice Kira felt that this trash crocodile was right. Initially, the ice Kira wanted to live and had to submit to Feng Lin. It wanted to take revenge, so it naturally couldn't let itself die like this. But it didn't expect Wang Feng to not only heal it, but also make it stronger rapidly. Over the past month, some ice spikes had started to grow on its back. The huge yellow crystal core in its abdomen had also started to light up slightly. This was a sign of its rapid growth. Therefore, it was willing to submit now. No, even if it was chased away, it didn't want to leave. Furthermore, the ice Kira could tell that Wang Feng's target was the overlord in the inner circle, the ice dragon whale. This was also the reason why it was willing to submit. Seeing that the demonic soul kraken was about to escape, it couldn't help but sigh. This soul beast wasn't so easy to subdue. If they had this demonic soul kraken, their chances of defeating the ice dragon whale would be greatly increased. This fellow was really terrifying. Once it opened its mouth, smaller soul beasts wouldn't even be able to use their abilities before they became food for the demonic soul kraken. Not to mention its other abilities. But right at this moment, Wang Feng smiled as he looked at the demonic soul kraken that was about to escape. Suddenly, he opened his mouth. A strange voice came out of its mouth. Hearing this sound, the demonic soul kraken suddenly stopped. Seeing this, the ice Kira and the violent snow crocodile were stunned. What's going on? This sound seems very special, it's a little nice to hear. The violent snow crocodile dug its ears. This sound was a little sharp and high-pitched. It was the dolphin sound that Wang Feng remembered from his previous life. This sound would shock anyone who heard it. If it was in the past, Wang Feng wouldn't have been able to learn it. But right now, he was an ignorant person who understood every part of his body very well. It wasn't difficult for him to make this sound. Furthermore, Wang Feng wasn't making random noises. He was making a simple song. When he came here, he heard from the violent snow crocodile that the demonic soul kraken liked to sing and jump. Wang Feng planned to use this method to attract it. This was also the second method that Wang Feng thought of. Furthermore, he chose to use the dolphin sound. Although Wang Feng wasn't sure if he could attract the demonic soul kraken, he could still give it a try. Reality proved that Wang Feng was right. Soon, Wang Feng saw the demonic soul kraken turn around and look at him. It had many eyes. There were about 6 of them. Each eye emitted a different light. At this moment, the demonic soul kraken's eyes lit up as it stared at Wang Feng. It was as if it had seen a confidant. Following this, it opened its mouth and made a sound similar to Wang Feng's. It was singing cheerfully. However, its voice wasn't very pleasant to listen to. Its tone was weird too. It was obvious that it hadn't practiced for 3 years. Wang Feng looked at the demonic soul kraken with a strange expression. The violent snow crocodile and the ice Kira were dumbfounded. They thought that the demonic soul kraken was going to leave. They didn't expect Wang Feng to make it stay. End of this chapter. Chapter 477. At this moment, Wang Feng suddenly thought of something. He stretched out his palm and formed a huge metal ball with the mysterious underworld. With a light leap, he threw the iron ball out. As the sovereign devil Kuan cried out, it leaped and lifted the iron ball high up into the air. It seemed to be very interested in this. Wang Feng, violent snow crocodile, ice Kira, Wang Fengxin let out a long sigh. He didn't expect this demonic sovereign Kuan to have such special hobbies. It liked to sing, jump, and play with balls. It was probably lonely in the world of soul beasts, right? After all, who knew that soul beasts liked such entertainment? This demonic sovereign Kuan is a coward. It likes to sing and play with balls. It doesn't seem to be very intelligent. It should be similar to Odontosuchus. Wang Feng looked at the demonic sovereign Kuan, who was having fun and singing excitedly. He sighed. Just like that, this demonic sovereign Kuan was subdued by Wang Feng. Of course, Wang Feng had to use 4th gear to beat it up before it was willing to stay. However, it was indeed very strong. Wang Feng couldn't defeat it instantly even with 4th gear and Void Realm. The main reason was that it was too big and could take a beating. Furthermore, its skin was able to absorb attacks. When ordinary soul masters fought with it, their soul power would be rapidly absorbed. The bigger it was, the harder it was to defeat it. The most terrifying thing was its ability to absorb group soul power. As long as it was in range and used this ability, the soul power of all living things in the range would be rapidly absorbed. Furthermore, the soul power consumption when it attacked would be greatly increased. Its attack power was also very strong. With such a size, the demonic sovereign Kuan wasn't weak in any aspect. However, this fellow was really a coward. It didn't like to train with Wang Feng at all. The reason why it was willing to be Wang Feng's underling wasn't because it wanted to be beaten up. It was because after so many years, only Wang Feng appreciated its musical hobby and could sing and play with it. This fellow was lazy and cowardly, but it was indeed the strongest of the 3 soul beasts. Hence, Wang Feng gave it the nickname, Coward Kuan. Just like that, Odontosuchus, Shun Bing, and Coward Kuan. The three top generals that Wang Feng had subdued in the outer circle were born. As for who was the boss, Odontosuchus originally thought that he was the one who came first. Of course, he was the boss. However, he was directly beaten up by Shun Bing. Strength was respect, so he sullenly became the third brother. In the next few months, Wang Feng met another Thunder Spirit Fox and became the fourth. This Thunder Spirit Fox had taken the initiative to find Wang Feng and ask to join him. Because Wang Feng's three subordinates were all extraordinary, many of the soul beasts in the outer circle had heard the news, but when they heard that the one who had submitted to them was a human, most of them gave up. Only this Thunder Spiritual Fox was special. What surprised Wang Feng was that the Thunder Spiritual Fox had joined him because he wanted to deal with the Ice Dragon Whale. After asking around, he found out that the Thunder Spiritual Fox had once fallen in love with the Star Moon Fox and was Little Qing's subordinate. Wang Feng found the story rather interesting. Ever since Little Green brought Xingxing and Yaya to this place, the Thunder Spiritual Fox had secretly fallen in love with the Star Moon Fox. However, she had never had the chance to say it out loud. This was because the Star Moon Fox was beautiful, gentle, and strong. This made the Thunder Spiritual Fox feel inferior. It had always hidden this love deep in its heart. It had joined Little Qing's team and watched the moon and stars from afar. At that time, it was still not a Thunder Spiritual Fox. It was just an ordinary spiritual fox. Its bloodline was ordinary, its strength was ordinary, and all aspects were ordinary. It was not even as strong as the Star Moon Fox. It did not even have the ability to protect the Star Moon Fox. Facing its beloved goddess, the Thunder Spiritual Fox started to work hard. It cultivated day and night to become stronger. It did not hesitate to put its life on the line to cultivate. There were a few times when the other spiritual foxes tried to persuade it not to work so hard. She would not like it. At that time, Little Qing was the leader. The Star Moon Fox and Yaya were her companions. Their status and abilities were extraordinary. The Thunder Spiritual Fox was just an ordinary and lonely spiritual fox. What right did it have? However, it did not give up. It continued to cultivate. However, the difference in its bloodline meant that no matter how hard it cultivated, it was useless. It could not hurt. It did not even have the courage to confess to its beloved goddess. However, it did not give up. Finally, one day, as if the heavens were watching over it, it fainted during one of the training sessions and was struck by lightning. How powerful was the divine lightning! Despite the pain, the Thunder Spiritual Fox still thought of the Star Moon Fox. Its strong willpower allowed it to survive and even mutate. It gained the ability to control lightning. The years of cultivation made it cry. It looked up to the sky and howled. The pain was gone. It grew 3 tails that were filled with lightning. There was also a mark of lightning on its forehead. Its powerful strength allowed it to become the most powerful spiritual fox. It was the Thunder Spiritual Fox. It became stronger and more confident. However, it was still afraid. It felt that it was not strong enough to protect the Star Moon Fox. Therefore, it continued to cultivate while watching the Star Moon Fox. Until one day, his cultivation had reached 40,000 years. The power of lightning evolved once again, and 6 tails grew out of it. It became the most powerful existence in the history of the spiritual foxes. It was also the most terrifying existence among the spiritual foxes. There was no such mutation in the history of the spiritual foxes. The Thunder Spiritual Fox regained its confidence. It wanted to confess to the Star Moon Fox that it had been in love with for many years. It wanted to protect the Star Moon Fox forever. When he heard this, Wang Feng could not help but sigh. Wang Feng could roughly guess the rest of the story. However, at this moment, the Ice Dragon Whale attacked. The battle between the Ice Dragon Whale and the titled Douluo caused Xingxing and Yaya to be half dead. In the end, they had no choice but to become human soul rings. The Thunder Spiritual Fox did not even get to see the Star Moon Fox for the last time. What kind of tragedy was this? It was not easy to obtain such a powerful strength. However, before it could express its feelings, it was gone. It spent half a year in a daze. There were a few times when it charged into the inner circle to seek revenge. However, it was beaten half to death by the Ice Dragon Whale's subordinates before it could even see the Ice Dragon Whale. However, it did not give up. It cultivated bitterly and used all sorts of methods to become stronger. It was as if its spirit was made of steel. Over the past 10 months, it did not rest for a single day. It was in a very tense state. It was called the Iron Fox. It wanted revenge. It was these 4 words that supported it. After Wang Feng heard this, he was very impressed. Even Binjira was moved when he heard this. Just like that, it found Wang Feng. More accurately, it found the blizzard crocodile. It did not want anything. For revenge, it was willing to do anything. It was extremely pure. Just like that, Wang Feng subdued his 4th subordinate. After another 2 months, Wang Feng reached rank 50. He also activated the 5th form of the chaotic green lotus. At the same time, he received news about Little Green from the 4 soul beasts. Little Green was caught by the Ice Dragon Whale. It was a little late, cough, cough. End of chapter. Chapter 478. The Thunder Spiritual Fox found out about this. Over the past half a year, the Thunder Spiritual Fox had been defeated by the Ice Dragon Whale's underling. It had accepted the Ice Dragon Whale's underling as its boss and had been secretly gathering information about the Ice Dragon Whale. It knew everything about the Ice Dragon Whale. This made Wang Feng look at it in a different light. The Thunder Spiritual Fox was really ruthless. Not only was it ruthless to others, it was also ruthless to itself. When Wang Feng heard the news, he didn't make any preparations. Wang Feng calculated that he had been in the extreme north for almost 2 years. In the first year, he had subdued the blizzard crocodile and ice kira. In the second year, he had subdued the demonic Emperor Kuan and the Thunder Spiritual Fox. In the following days, Wang Feng had been training with the 4 of them. The most hard-working ones were the Thunder Spiritual Fox and Ice Kira. The blizzard crocodile was relatively lazy. The cowardly Kuan was not a lazy fish. It was a dead fish. If Wang Feng hadn't beaten it up a few times, it would have hidden in the ice river and didn't want to come out. It would only appear when Wang Feng found a place to sing and play. The Thunder Spiritual Fox didn't look good. To be more precise, it had scratched its originally beautiful purple gold fur and face to make it easier to hide from the Ice Dragon Whale. It had mutated into a Thunder Spiritual Fox and was still very good-looking. It had light purple fur and a pair of deep purple pupils. Although it wasn't big, it was about the size of a South China tiger in his previous life. But it looked good. Unfortunately, in order to take revenge, it didn't care about these things. When it first came, Wang Feng thought it was a mixed fur fox when he first saw it. Its entire body was colorful, and there were 2 deep scars on its face. It looked unusually hideous. It looked ferocious, sloppy, and ugly. It said that if it didn't do this, it wouldn't be able to become the Ice Dragon Whale's underling. It would be easily discovered. In addition, it had to wander around the Ice Dragon Whale's underlings and do odd jobs like pouring tea. That was the only way. The Ice Dragon Whale's underlings were all extremely cruel. It was an exaggeration to say that they were ugly. Furthermore, because it had never expressed its love for the Star Moon Fox, no one knew that it had a grudge with the Ice Dragon Whale. It was even harder for the Ice Dragon Whale to suspect it. It didn't even give a reason when it came to the Ice Dragon Whale's underling. On this day, outside the wooden house, Wang Feng looked at the 4 soul beasts. The violent snow crocodile and he knew each other the longest. Ice Kira joined half a year later. The demonic Emperor Kuan was subdued a year after Wang Feng came to the extreme north. The Thunder Spirit Fox joined them 2 months later. Wang Feng calculated the time. There was less than a month left. He had been in the extreme north for 2 years. Although the blizzard crocodile had known each other for the longest time, the ones who trained with it the most were the Ice Kira and the Thunder Spirit Fox. Their progress was also very fast. Even his cultivation had increased. All of them had increased their cultivation by at least a few thousand years. The one that improved the most was the Ice Kira, because it was only around 40,000 years old when it first joined. Now it was almost 50,000 years old. Long ice spikes grew out of its limbs and back, and the ice crystal armor that covered its body had many ancient patterns. The yellow heart core in the center of its abdomen flickered slightly. He had trained with Wang Feng for half a year and had made great progress. Next was the Thunder Spirit Fox. The Thunder Spirit Fox had trained with Wang Feng for less than half a year, perhaps only 4 months. But its progress was ranked second among the soul beasts. It originally only had 40,000 years of cultivation. Now, its cultivation was only slightly weaker than the Ice Kira. And under the cleansing of Wang Feng's golden lotus, its body had returned to its original state. It had also grown an extra tail, turning into a 7-tailed Thunder Spirit Fox. According to it, its tail represented the power and innate potential to control lightning. After reaching 6 tails, it was almost at its limit. It felt that it could not improve anymore. But it did not expect to improve again after training with Wang Feng. But Wang Feng knew that the Golden Lotus ability actually increased the upper limit of its potential. This was the essence of evolution. Wang Fengxing thought of using the Golden Lotus to create an army of soul beasts, but after thinking about it, he felt that it would take too much time. And many of the soul beasts did not have high potential. For example, the 3 little fellows that had followed him for 4 to 5 years, compared to these 4 soul beasts, their innate bloodlines were far inferior. He used the Golden Lotus for close to 5 years to make the 3 of them stronger and evolve. Qing Qing was the best. She had followed him for the longest time. The other 2 Xingxing and Ye were not stronger than the 4 soul beasts in terms of innate talent and bloodlines. They were even weaker. Other than the Thunder Spirit Fox and the Ice Kira, the Blizzard Crocodile's cultivation had increased to 70,000 years. Its cultivation was more than 60,000 years, and it had followed Wang Feng since the beginning. It was normal for it to have such an improvement. In comparison, little Kun Kun, look at you. Wang Feng stomped the demonic sovereign Kun under his butt. This fellow was too big. It was like a steel fortress. The other 3 soul beasts were on the demonic sovereign Kun's back. Even the huge Ice Kira was very small in front of the demonic sovereign Kun. The Ice Kira was more than 10 meters long and weighed more than 10 tons. But on the demonic sovereign Kun's back, it was like Wang Feng was carrying a stone that weighed dozens of kilograms. Because the inner circle was too big, the ice dragon whale's position was very far from where they were, according to the Thunder Spirit Fox's description. Therefore, he used the demonic sovereign Kun to drag it for a while before acting according to plan. Ong, the demonic sovereign Kun let out a lazy roar. Its wings flapped slightly, and a cold current appeared. It flew 100 meters in the air, and its shadow alone was enough to frighten the soul beasts below. The ice dragon whale has 5 10,000-year soul beasts, and more than 60,000-year soul beasts. The Thunder Spirit Fox spoke as they traveled. Its voice was very steady. When it first learned to speak, it was very deep. It was like a 40-year-old middle-aged man who had experienced the ups and downs of the world. It had a hint of vicissitudes. But thinking about the Thunder Spirit Fox's experience, Wang Feng felt that it was very normal. The Blizzard Crocodile and the Ice Kira sounded younger, about 17 or 18 years old. The demonic sovereign Kun's voice was lazy, like a young man in his 20s. But in reality, the Thunder Spirit Fox was the youngest, and the demonic sovereign Kun was the oldest. The Blizzard Crocodile and the Ice Kira were second. The 5 10,000-year soul beasts' strength range from 60,000 to 80,000 years. The most powerful one is a frost wolf with 80,000 years of cultivation. The thunder spirit fox said slowly in a deep voice, "Among the 5 great powers in the inner circle, the ice dragon whale is the weakest, but it is also the most troublesome. Its location is called the 4 Absolutes, the Manifestation Valley. That place is a rare good place in the inner circle, and it is rich in energy. In fact, the 5 great powers in the inner circle all have their own territories, and they all occupy a treasure ground." Wang Feng nodded slightly. End of chapter. Chapter 479. Although the extreme north was dangerous, there were many paradises in the inner circle. It was similar to the icefire Yin-Yang well. Although it was not comparable, it was not too far off. Otherwise, how difficult would it be to nurture those powerful overlord-class soul beasts without resources and just relying on cultivation? Saying this, the thunder spiritual fox used its tail to wipe off the frost on its face. The cold air in the clouds was too heavy. "We are not afraid of the other soul beasts at all," the thunder spiritual fox continued. "Qing Huang is the smartest soul beast I've ever seen. Although her cultivation isn't high, she's very powerful. Logically speaking, she should be very difficult to capture. Now that she's been captured by the ice dragon whale, something must have happened. Although I am not clear about the reason, Qing Huang should be locked in the extreme cold ice cave in the Ice God Valley. The ice dragon whale has been chasing after Qing Huang. I am afraid it will announce to all the soul beasts under its command to come and participate in its Ice God Valley's feast. The ice dragon whale is a very cunning soul beast, and it's extremely selfish. It wants to take all the beautiful things for itself. Most of its soul beasts are also greedy and ruthless. But its strength is real. It should have recovered from the injuries caused by the human experts in the past half a year. Boss Feng, you must be careful. I even suspect that it released this information on purpose. Wang Feng's arrangement for them was very simple. In the past half a year, Wang Feng gave the 4 soul beasts a special training to let them learn the cooperation between soul beasts, so that they could display more powerful moves. They also learned very quickly. Wang Feng looked at the white snow forest in the distance, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. Unknowingly, 2 years had passed. For this trip, not only did Wang Feng want to defeat the ice dragon whale and save Qing Qing, he also wanted to occupy the Ice God Valley. According to the Thunder Spiritual Fox, the Nature Manifestation Valley was one of the 5 rare treasured lands in the extreme north. It had many heaven and earth treasures. Furthermore, it occupied a large area and was divided into 4 dangerous lands: Extreme Cold Ice Cave, Extreme Cold Spirit Cave, Extreme Lightning Purple Forest, and Extreme Wind Green Platform. It was a dangerous land that was formed naturally by heaven and earth. While it was dangerous, it was also a treasure land. The ice dragon whale only occupied the extreme cold ice cave. It didn't dare to stay in the other 3 dangerous areas of the Nature Manifestation Valley. It was even more so for the other soul beasts. Even if their elements were compatible, they wouldn't be able to stay there for long. There were all sorts of natural treasures of different elements inside. The Thunder Spiritual Fox had endured the humiliation of being a subordinate of the Ice Dragon Whale for half a year, so it knew these things very well. Boss Feng, you have to promise me that after we defeat the Ice Dragon Whale, you have to find me a wife. The Blizzard Crocodile gave a silly smile. Wang Feng, is this what a homebody crocodile like you is thinking about? Boss Feng, after we defeat the Ice Dragon Whale, you have to teach me that new song too. The one with a rainbow on the left and a dragon on the right. The demonic Emperor Kuan laughed mischievously. And Kuan is too beautiful. I want to learn it too. Wang Feng. This was his only hobby. Boss Feng, after you kill the Ice Dragon Whale, I'll grind its bones to dust. Ice Kira's eyes glinted fiercely. In terms of hatred and emotions, Ice Kira and the Thunder Spiritual Fox were equally matched. I want to eat its flesh and drink its blood. A trace of pain flashed across the Thunder Spiritual Fox's eyes. Wang Feng looked at the four soul beasts and nodded slightly. Fourth extremity Myriad Elephant Valley. The terrain of this place was very special. There were layers of ice walls and icicles that were at least 100 meters tall, surrounding this place so tightly that not even a drop of water could pass through. There was only a small opening at the back. Relying on these ice walls and icicles, the fourth extremity Myriad Elephant Valley could be said to be easy to defend and hard to attack. Other than flying-type soul beasts, it was too difficult to break in. If one were to look from the sky, there were a total of 4 colors in this fourth extremity Myriad Elephant Valley. They were divided into 4 different directions in the valley. Streams of spiritual aura gathered together with these 4 streams of air, forming waves of extremely pure energy. One could imagine how much faster one's cultivation speed would be if one were to cultivate in such a treasure land. However, the danger level of this place wasn't something that ordinary 10,000-year soul beasts could stay in. If one's cultivation wasn't high enough, they would die if they entered. The absolute cold ice cave was located on the upper left side of the Myriad Elephant Valley. The temperature here was at least negative 120 degrees Celsius. The closer it was to the center, the colder it was. At this moment, there were many ice crystals hanging upside down in the spirit cave, emitting waves of cold air. The ice crystals were like stalactites, and it was unknown how many years had passed since they formed. The surrounding ice ground was filled with all sorts of strange and special plants, each of which emitted an extremely cold aura. Some ice grass was used to form a path in the center, which extended to the absolute cold ice spring in front of the spirit cave. The ice dragon whale lived in this absolute cold ice spring. Upwind of the ice spring, countless ice crystals formed an ice crystal cage. The absolute cold ice crystals in this spirit cave were at least tens of thousands of years old, and were extremely hard. Normal 60 to 70,000 year soul beasts wouldn't be able to cause much damage to these ice crystals. Once sealed inside, just the cold air emitted by the ice crystals would be unbearable for normal titled Doulu. Inside, there was an exceptionally beautiful green bird locked in the cage. This green bird wasn't very big, and was only about 5 meters tall. However, her entire body was as radiant as a fairy, and every feather seemed to be meticulously crafted by the heavens. Even the patterns on her feathers were orderly and carried a sense of mystery. Her eyes were bright and spirited, and her pale golden pupils were calmly looking at the ice spring below. She seemed to have been inflicted with a special soul skill, and couldn't move at all. Her pure golden claws were stepping on the ice crystal cage, and the golden feathers on her head were gently draped behind her back. They swayed slightly with the cold wind, and made her look like a fairy bird. Her wings weren't open, and were only closed close to her body. Her green wings could only be opened slightly, but they emitted waves of gentle energy that resisted the terrifying temperature in the absolute cold ice cave. Even if they didn't admire her from the perspective of soul beasts, normal living beings would think that this green bird was extremely beautiful. However, many soul beasts gathered below were looking at this green bird with greed and fear in their eyes. These ice-type soul beasts were all at least 10,000-year soul beasts, and many of them were 30 to 40,000-year soul beasts. They all had different shapes and sizes, and their auras were very strong. They were all subordinates of the ice dragon whale. The 5 soul beasts at the front were like generals, and stood at the very front. The one in the middle was a huge ice-blue wolf that was 7 to 8 meters tall. It was the ice dragon whale's number 1 general, the Skyfrost wolf. The other 4 were between 60 to 70,000-year soul beasts, and their cultivations were between 60 to 70,000-year soul beasts. They were also huge, and all of them looked ferocious. Today was a grand occasion for them in the myriad Elephant Valley. Their old mountain, the ice dragon whale, was about to become Qing Huang Er's partner. Of course, it was by force. End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.